as the designer, Tristan, you made me tear up a little earlier when you said it helped you and it made you feel better, and and it's a good chair, because it does mean that much to me. And it's really easy to get lost in the day-to-day of squeaks and squawks and returns and the next design, and there's always so much to do, and you're so buried in it that as the product development guy, I sometimes get lost in that, and I forget that there's a you out there interacting with it sometimes. And we share constantly reviews that come back, good and bad. And the bad ones, okay, what are we gonna do to fix that? The good ones, heart, love, high five, to the moon, rockets, fist pumps, knuckle bumps. We send all these emotions because they melt our heart, because everybody in this company would hug every single one of you guys that bought a chair and had a positive experience, because that's who we are. We all are very passionate about helping people. There's nobody at this company that just has a job. This is a company with a huge heart, and we always want to be better. We want more. We want less price points. We want more features. We want to give you guys the sun and the moon and the stars. We're a startup yet. You're right, Tristan. We're brand new out of the chutes, and this is what we got for now. But I pledge to you that we will be the company that wants to set the gold standard of what sitting could be, what comfort could be. That's our mission vision, is to get people out of pain and build some of the best seating products that are out there.
And I will be sitting in the Anthros as my chair. This is the chair that I will be wearing. Yeah, no, I'm for sure. And that's where my conflictedness was. And I was like, how the fuck do I make a review on a $2,000 chair that feels fantastic and rocks, but has a couple things that are like, for me,
for new kids on the block, thank you for pointing it out. Give me a little grace, and let me see what I can do to perfect it.
Look, I don't expect perfection from any company. I just like when companies listen. What's going on, everybody? This is Tristan from Crafting Worlds. Did you know Crafting Worlds is also a community? You can hit the Discord link in the link below to chat about chairs, lifestyle, keyboards, you name it. We're talking about it. But here we're having a little bit of a different format. This is a podcast. We are the Joe Rogan of chairs today. I know, super exciting for a lot of you. Some of you are going to be like, what the crap? I am turning this off. But some of you actually might be interested in this, because it'll give you like a behind the scenes look into what goes into these chairs. Also, we're going to be asking some hard questions, because what validates a $2,000 chair? And we have, who are you?
I am Steve Dufresne. I am the CEO and the inventor of the Anthros chair.
So we have the actual CEO and inventor of the Anthros, because I want to drill the crap out of him. I'm not going to be holding punches, and I don't think he's going to be holding them back. And I want honest, I just want you to be honest, and I want people to get. I did this with Calder from Wooting. We talked about everything, and he has a very insightful look at the industry, as I'm sure you do too. And I want you as an audience to understand that, like, we're talking about these chairs, and we're using them every day, and we're paying a lot of money for them. And I want to give you an idea as to what that entails, why it entails that. But I also want to like ask hard questions, and I want to also just kind of shoot the shit and, talk about the chairs and geek out on the engineering of it. And the Anthros chair, to me, has become a staple in what I am now sitting in. This is, in terms of fix your sit, right? Your motto. That is exactly what this chair does. I have never sat more posture correct when in the middle of a hardcore gaming session, in the middle of a boss fight, than I have in this, and then not had pain afterwards. So that is awesome. Anyway, let's jump into this. And yeah, the first question I want to ask you is, who came up with the 6% sitting angle on this chair? Because holy crap. I did? You said?
You did. Humans did. It wasn't an engineer. It wasn't out of some magical ergonomic book. It wasn't a recipe that any one of the other majors wrote, and we just followed suit with. When we developed the Anthros chair, we had what's called a sitting buck. It's a prototype ultimately, and the backs could move everywhere. They didn't have gear knobs yet. They just moved in space, and we used wrenches to tighten a bolt down and move them in different spots. And same thing with the tilt. We had a tilt system on it, but we didn't have our lockout numbers built yet. There are notches inside the gear inside that mechanism, that little tongue goes in it and locks it at 0, 3, 6, 9, wherever you want. And we had the first prototype, it didn't have any. We had to establish what we want. So we kind of started by developing the pads first, the cushion, the two backs. And we did probably about 200 people, friends, family, neighbors. And then we went a little farther after that, went to some offices and just had human beings sit in the chair. And we do the same thing. Let's set the height first. Okay. Now sit up your best. And then we put the two backs in place and we tighten them down, going, okay, are you sitting good? Kind of like how you set your chair up with knobs. We just did it with wrenches. It's like, okay, why don't you sit perfectly up your best upright spot? And the chair wasn't fixed. It wasn't locked out. And we had a little digital inclinometer, a little angular measurement device magnetized to the mechanism. And we just reach down there and we'd write the recording down for participant 107. And then we go, okay, now let's loosen the tension up a little bit, and we tell them to tilt all the way back. And they go, oh, okay, I get it. All right. Oh, yeah, it's cool. And then we set the tension and let them play with it for a little bit. And we'd simply say, okay, get into a spot where you feel relaxed, but can still task. Okay. And they'd kind of move around, you picture it, right? And they'd kind of go like right about here. You look underneath, and we were writing down 6 or 7, nothing else. It was out of all the science, all the measurements that we took of trying all these subjects, it was the one that we went, that is impossible that everybody chose 6 or 7 degrees. Nobody chose a 4, nobody chose a 2, nobody chose a 10, because we're asking them for a comfortable task position. And we tried to back into, why did all these humans pick 6 or 7? And we think it's because of our vestibular canal. And when you stand upright, you know right where to be balanced so that you use the least amount of muscles. Oh. And we believe if I stood up for the podcast and you cross your legs like this and stand on one foot, if you lean forwards 1 degree, you realize how heavy you get. And the same thing with backwards. No matter how we stand, we always find this perfect balance point to use the least amount of muscles and ankles and whatnot. And we think when we gave people this opportunity to sit down and relax and come up with a neutral functional tasking working position, that the brain and the body and the muscles all went, oh, I'm tilted back just enough that my stomach muscles are up, my back muscles are relaxed, and I'm not too far back that my chin's coming down. And we just think the human body gave that number. So that's how we came up with it. You guys came up with it.
So like I said in the beginning of this is a podcast for nerdy chair people. If you were not aware, now you are. The 6%, I'll get into more detail. There's going to be another video that is just my review of the chair, and you can check that out to see all those details and like how the chair works and everything. So we're going to be talking about a lot of those things. So if you want to see like more in detail about that, feel free to go watch that video, but we're going to be just chatting about it, casually. So there is a function where this chair goes into a 6% recline where you can lock it. It doesn't go forward anymore. It doesn't go backwards anymore. I'm currently sitting in that recline, and it is one of the most comfortable positions I've ever been in a chair. It's not completely flat. It's literally just like that, and your body kind of like just, you feel relaxed. I even have a leg up. Like I'm always one leg up when I'm sitting. I know it's terrible, but like it allows you to sit like that still, and you don't feel like you're hurting yourself, which is really cool. That's why I was curious how that number came to be.
There's actually 2 numbers. There's 0, 6. You can lock it at 0, right? You can lock it all the way up, but you kind of feel like you're falling forwards, and you are. falling forwards because you're perfectly stacked. And
0 is
now
good
you,
for certain things. I find that I
yeah,
set it to 0. Like I don't use the 6% for man, what tasks? Like sometimes I find that just being in 0 helps to reset the sciatic nerve. Sometimes you need to be in that like upper echelon,
mhm.
and sometimes if you lean back, you're even in the 6%. If you stay in it too long, I find sometimes you can irritate just the sciatic, not your butt or your pelvic, but the sciatic can. It's a complicated little freaking nerve there. So,
It is indeed, and it's once you irritated, it lets you know.
oh yes, yes. Luckily, my whole family has to deal with that one, which is great. So,
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
nah, it's all good.
But one more number, the tilt all the way back. Our chair tilts pretty far. It goes 16.6 degrees back.
Yeah.
And white paper evidence from our wheelchair background. There are a lot of chairs have power tilt, or manual chairs have a tilt function to them. And all the white papers for when do the good things happen with tilt? So when you tilt backwards in a chair, whether it's a wheelchair or an office chair, at some point you tilt far enough that you start transferring your weight off of the cushion and into the back,
I,
and you
yeah.
feel lighter in your butt.
Mm-hmm.
And all the white papers would say that from the old medical industry, that blood flow increases after 15, and you can transfer X amount of weight into the back, so your sitting pressure, it goes down by 34%. There are all these statistics as to you got to get to at least 15 degrees of tilt. And we fought and fought and fought with that mechanism to get just over the threshold of 15 so that we could get that goodness that the medical community says, the human body gets when you sit in full tilt.
Right. So you actually just touched on something that I was going to ask you about. So I read that you have a wheelchair background.
Yeah.
How does that how is that being applied to Anthros, and where does that even come from? Like, was that your first job? Like, I don't understand how that all mixes.
It was my first job. It was the job right before I started Anthros. And for a little over a decade, I was the VP of product development for a company that developed wheelchair seating components, cushions, backs, arm troughs, lap trays, head supports, lateral trunk supports. Heck, if your leg was amputated, we even made little pads that went on the front of the chair that you could swing away or change the angles on. I mean, we made support surfaces, is what we called them, for manual chairs and power chairs, and our stuff was very modular. You could put it onto any one of the OEMs, any manual chair. We found a way to have a kit to talk to it so that our seating products could work for any therapist that wants our products on this particular chair for that particular patient. So a lot of that DNA came over here, which is, Tristan, why you said your tailbone doesn't hurt, your sit bones don't hurt, you don't have any low back pain, because every single feature and movement of the chair and surface and softness and contour was designed to tackle one thing, and it's called a pain receptor, also known as a nociceptor. It's what makes you say something's hot or cold. Like, you yank your hand out of cold water or
Right.
off of the heat. You've got a thermal one. You've got a vibration sensor in you. You have a pressure and a shear pain receptor in your body. And pressure is this, shear is this when you tug on your skin. This doesn't hurt, but when I tug,
Yeah.
or better yet, you squeeze your arm versus a snake bite,
Yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
between pressure versus shear. And all of these pain receptors are through your whole body, into your spine. Every square inch of your body has pain receptors in it, and more at the surface for thermal and whatnot. But while we were addressing pressure and shear and, your disc spacing and stacking your vertebrae, it was all to silence your pain receptors as much as possible. And the only way to do it is to get you into perfect standing posture while sitting.
So now, is this something are you saying that this is something that you were doing when you were in the wheelchair industry, or this is stuff that you've applied to the Anthros chair?
It's from the wheelchair industry. This mindset of how we see the human body and how we designed over there is to look at those things: pressure, shear, microclimate, disc spacing, nerve pain, just comfort. Your elbow, we make pads really soft so that your elbow doesn't hurt if you're going to drive a power chair. I mean, we were always trying to make human beings as comfortable as possible because they don't get to get up and move around and fidget.
Right. And so I don't have that much knowledge of the wheelchair community, obviously, but I do have knowledge of, say, like bed sores. And if you stay in one position too long, you get pain, and your body needs the flow of the blood. Does that apply to, say, the Anthros and the different percentages? So you said like the 16%, that changes the amount of, and I've experienced it because let's say my butt starts to feel a little bit of I wouldn't even say pain, because I swear to God, I don't get butt pain in this chair. And it's nuts to me because I have a lot of chairs and I've reviewed a lot of chairs now, and it's the only one. And so when I was talking to Ashley, the marketing manager, she had me go into that, full recline, because she was like, oh, if you're having a little bit of sciatic, because that can still get a little, inflamed. Yeah. She was like, go try the 16. And I did. And I was like, oh, all of the pressure from my butt and that sciatic nerve literally is on my back now. And so one of the questions I have from that is that position is perfect. And I get where that works from an ergonomic standpoint, from a wheelchair standpoint. Like, I understand that would help to release that pressure that if you're always sitting, which we all are nowadays, we're literally wheelchairing ourselves.
I might take that line. Stop wheelchairing yourself and fix your step.
Seriously. But like, we're all in this position now. So getting those moments where you can release that pressure is fantastic. I do have one question though, because when I got into that, it was extremely comfortable and I felt that release. But one thing that was missing, and I think you'll agree with this, is that the human head is the heaviest part of the body.
8 to 9 pounds. 12 for some. Yeah.
In that position, you can work. No problem. I could do it. But you have to bring your head into the...
Yeah.
And so my question is, why with this modular system is there not a headrest?
It's a loaded question. So easy.
You brought up the 16%. You brought up all ergonomics. And I'm going to tell you, I know a little bit about the human body. So I told you some of these were going to be hard.
It's like the scale of, is it a task chair or is it a recliner? Are you going to work in it mainly and game in it and just be at your desk doing? Or are we designing something for this and watching Netflix? And it's just, I don't know. And we kind of looked at the landscape of all the high performance task chairs out there. And yes, a lot of the gaming chairs have head supports built in, but a lot of the major task chairs, the Aeron, the Embody, the Leap, the Jester, the Contessa, they don't come with a head support, and they've moved millions and millions and millions of units. And I was kind of like, I got other fish to fry on the design. Let's just work on getting the chair right, and we'll come back to the head support, not abandon it or say, I'm never going to do it. Maybe it's already on the roadmap and we're working towards it. Would it be modular and talk to your current chair? Yes.
Okay. So that's like the most important thing to me is that, so you are looking into the idea of a headrest.
Absolutely.
And so then for like customers, let's say they bought the version 1, would they have access to that headrest without buying version 3?
100%. But it's getting ugly. Like, it would look better if I could attach it to the upper back right here. Mm-hmm. Redesign the back, put some structure in there and a mounting block and put it in there, but then it wouldn't be as modular. So we're trying to design it such that it grabs on to the upper back bar, that center spine, where it'll clamp onto it. You get a little height adjustment there and then some linkage going up and fitting you.
Right. And I don't think...
but it'll get the job done.
I don't think people will be too upset about the idea of a new headrest because if they can get it for their old chairs. Versioning to me is a very important customer, like a consumer friendly trait, where I see too many companies that they version their chairs, and it's Apple does it. I'm an Apple fanboy through and through. I mean, I love their stuff. I hate their release schedules. I don't like the how do I always say it the same way. It's like the next reveal, the big reveal. I don't like that design idea. I like the idea of transparency. What did he say?
Our production guy just goes planned obsolescence is what it is.
Yes, correct. But I also think that companies should be doing, they don't, and I don't necessarily think that they will be necessarily, but if they could, it would be fantastic. But I think that they should be telling, there's a lot of companies that like to kickstart their products, or they like to grand reveal the product. And when they do their grand reveal or their Kickstarter, they get feedback. And that feedback is sometimes negative, and everybody's going, wait, we didn't want that. It's the same in the gaming industry. It's the same in the technology industry. It's the same in the chair industry. Mm-hmm. There's always this grand reveal. And I just wish companies would slowly give us information and say, what do you think of this? Like this might be something we're working on. And so then you get that transparency and it builds that customer trust. So then when that Kickstarter goes live, sure, you may reveal the colors or the back plates or the different accessories for it. But the basic idea of the product is built by what people want, not what you think people want. And so I don't really know where the hell I was going with that, but I guess the idea here is that when you're versioning your products, are you looking at it more to be something that people are you expecting people to buy version 1 and then let's say version 3 comes out? Do they then have to buy version 3, or can parts from version 3 be backwards compatible? That's kind of the question. You know what I mean?
I want backwards compatibility, and my product development tenure has always been to innovate. Oh, let's make it better. How do we make it better? Not let's lock one design in and own it for 20 years and squeeze every penny out of it by, finding the next cheaper supplier, increasing volumes. And not that that's a bad plan, but you can always make your product better. That's who I am. It's like we have a V2 cushion already, as you know.
Yes.
And that was because we got feedback. We examined a returns report. Why are they coming back? I've got a 30-day money back guarantee. I need to understand exactly why every person's returning their chair. And you examine it. Okay, it didn't fit this body shape. Hey, do you mind? Can I call that lady up? I want to really know more about what she said hurt her. And because we care, we want to make sure that we're making the best product we can. And, you sell thousands and thousands of chairs and you get a certain number of returns, and it's a very low single-digit number. And that still wasn't good enough. It was like, let's scrub it and find out. And you find out, the seat to floor height's a little too high for some. There's some people that had front edge pressure at the edge of the cushion. Some people thought that the lower back was too small, or it wasn't high enough, or they were too big for it. So they said the upper back felt a little too small for some people. And it's like, okay, what can we do to make one chair fit even more people with less returns, meaning the people are just happy with their chair and more comfortable? We've taken that number, I think it was at like 4.5%, 5%, and now it's like 1.4%. And that's why we made the change. But it was backwards compatible, such that anybody that has a V1 chair, if they want the new cushions, you can buy it from us. And as you know, same tool, 5 minutes later, you can upgrade your whole system and not have to throw your chair away. Same thing with the head support. I don't like where I have to mount it, but I'm going to mount it to that spine because it'll work with all the old chairs. Hey, if I make new arms, because some people don't like our arms, Tristan, maybe there's new arms that are on the way. They'll be backwards compatible, and how easy it is to change it.
So
Two
then,
screws up front, middle, shiny new arms.
So so you and me having this conversation is different than like a customer saying, hey, on Reddit, where the fuck are my different arms, or why don't you have a fucking headrest, you assholes, right? You know what I mean? So like there's a difference between you and me having this conversation and a Reddit post. And so my question is, how can Anthros, like, beyond say like a podcast, right? Would you be more open to say giving more information about that kind of stuff? So I would be more inclined to buy an Anthros, for instance, if I like, for instance, when I saw Anthros, I said, okay, fix your shit. Let's fucking see. I was ready. I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, first of all, your price is up there. So I was like, this thing better be made out of gold and it better solve all the problems. And I was shocked when the base functionality of the chair actually did what it was supposed to. And so that was like, okay, I want to know more. And so for me, if I were not sent this chair, okay, and I purchased this chair, I would want to know we're working on. So, like for instance, Crandall offices, they were working with Atlas Headrest, and they Crandall was actually told me when I got my my chair like way early. He was like, "Oh, we're working with them, and like this is coming, but we can't tell the public yet because blah 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 blah." And then he finally did tell the public, and there was a huge. Everybody was so excited that it was coming, and so it was like He told him like 6 months before it even came out. Would you consider that kind of transparency for the community? Because it might, if I were looking at a chair, right, and I heard someone like me say, it fucking fixed the pain in my butt. End of story. It is the first chair to fix the pain in my butt from elongated periods of time. However, I really wish I had a fucking headrest. Right? So would you be open to the idea of transparency that says, you know, we have a blog or we have a place of things that are even things that might get chopped on the chopping block of like, these are ideas that we're floating, and like, because, and I'm long-winding this, but the basic idea is,
yeah, I would be willing to do that, but there's a fine line of
people don't. I get that people don't understand.
The new arms, I'm making this up. The new arms are going to be here in 3 months. We're going to try and have them before Black Friday. Would I lose out on a huge hunk of sales and tank by next 2 or 3 months before, you know, well, everybody's like pent up demand. Like, I don't want that old one. I'm going to wait till the new arms come out. Yes, that does happen. And yes, we kind of make those decisions as we want to tell them in advance, but not too in advance. But I also want it farther down the road in my mind. Like, I want it farther down the road where 1, I prototyped it. 2, I made the tools. 3, the parts came back and they fit the chair and they're doing what I want. And maybe I'm just making some little tweaks and I'm retexturing it, or, you know what I mean? Tuning the fabric or the upholstery. And then I'd be more inclined to talk about it, because you get pretty far down the line with plastic parts and they don't work. You can literally tool it up, put them on the chair, and it sucks, and they're slipping and moving all over. And yeah, it's not, you don't want to like put your neck out there and then under deliver. And we've under delivered on some timelines, and I've learned my lesson.
No, I agree. I mean, I have a video game server that I run, and it's a live service. And so under every patch note, we literally have a disclaimer that says like, things can change. Here's a general timeline of what we're expecting. People like in the gaming industry, they like timelines, right? They like to see like, here's the roadmap into the future of what could be held for this game. And when it doesn't deliver, I feel like some people do get very like, oh my God, fuck this company. Like, I'm not, like, they said they were going to give me this and it didn't happen. But I do think that a lot of people are more inclined to hold on to that game, keep that game installed, for instance, when they see things that, oh, that looks like that'll be fun. I'm going to wait for that. And I'm not going to just like fully forget this, because when there's no timeline, they'll just uninstall it, right? And they're like, free up hard drive space. I don't want to do it. And so I just, the versioning thing gets me with a lot of the companies that I've dealt with. And it's like, you telling me this is great information, because I think this will help a lot of people to understand like a headrest, sounds like it is coming.
It is coming. You won't have to buy it from Atlas like the other guys where you got to go aftermarket. It'll
be and that's the other thing is that none of these chairs offer their own headrests. Everything is through Atlas headrests, and I have an Atlas headrest on every single one of my chairs. I really think that you guys are really gonna. I think it's going to make this chair one of a kind, because in that 16%, when your head gets heavy, being able to work in that 16% is, and I know that you said like, oh, or do we want this? I'm not thinking about it for that. I'm thinking about it for my, like, I'm in a coding session, but my
Yeah.
sciatic pain is flared up and I really want to take all the pressure off, but my fucking big
Yeah.
head is making
Yeah.
it impossible.
There are a lot of people, we call it slammed, that just love sitting slammed back and work this way. And more than we thought. You know, we did a little internal test of all the people in our circle. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say like 30% of them probably said, I get in my chair, slam it all the way back, and that's how I work. And you're like, okay, well,
That's crazy.
maybe we should bump up the head support. And to all the people that are listening that are wondering, should I buy an Anthros chair? Is if I buy this is all I get? No. We into perpetuity. I'd like to keep upgrading the chair and making it better as we learn more. I can't give you the perfect, most Nirvana chair right out of the chute. You know, this thing's never been done before. It's got a lot of firsts on it, from the fixed base to the 2-part back, lifting by your pelvis, you know, some of the lock positions, the arm pads. You got to start with something, just like a car. I use like the Jeep. Jeep's a perfect one. They've only made Jeeps, and then they made Liberties and a couple others, and then they made this full size Grand. They brought back, what is it, the Grand Wagoneer, the Jeep Wagoneer, right? And it's the first time they made a full size truck. That first year or two was nothing but gremlins because it was so brand spanking new and a lot of firsts for them. Then they fix it, and you go in for warranty, and they're trying to make it better. But now, you know, call it that second generation on the same platform. It's got all that stuff worked out of it, and you know. A new product's a new product. And when you got first, hey man, this was my first crack at the armrest. I'm going to make new armrests. I am, Tristan. Are they going to be better than these? Heck yeah. Are they going to do the things that I've heard in comments, feedback, or returns? Absolutely, as much as possible. When is it going to be ready? I don't know yet, but I will always be.
What is it that what is it that you think needs difference on the armrests?
I think the arm supports need to go a little higher. I think they need to go a little more forwards. I think the surface area could be just a little larger and a little more flat. And I want to give the industry something that they've never received before. Everybody loves, I've got all the main chairs here. Everybody loves this guy. Like, these arms are engineering marvel. How they move.
Yeah.
And, I mean, these things on the gesture are mwah, for movement and getting to fit a human being. And I'd say the leaps are pretty good too with how much they articulate. But with great articulation comes the next problem.
The shakiness.
They can't lock them in that spot.
Right.
So when you get in and out of your chair, you know, they move in and out, or the pads twist too easily. And I'd love to find a way to give the humans that much articulation to fit your unique body shape. Are you stick thin and you need them come in? Are you pear shaped where they got to come up and over? Are you wider? Do they need to go out wider? Do you game? The Dota players gave a lot of feedback. They want them really high because of the way that they game. So it's like, all right, I got to get these things up and forwards a little more. And you get all this feedback from all these different types of sitting and human shapes and anthropometrics and lifestyles. And you go,
did you just say anthropometrics?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Is that where the Anthros name came from?
Well, anthropometrics is human measurements.
Right.
Anthropology is human studies, right? And anthro, yeah, the root word of anthro, human, meaning I want a chair that fits humans. And we just put an S on because it sounded good. Anthros just means humans, fitting humans. It's a human chair.
That's great, actually.
But the punchline is, yeah, the arms, how do we get them to move around, but then lock so that they don't move if you bump them or tap them? And when you get in and out of your chair, they don't slide and whatnot. So, yeah, I've got dreams to what's that next level?
Okay, so it's like Anthros is not a one and done, right? Like it's going to continue growing.
No. And we've got to giving away the farm here, but yeah, we want a family of chairs at different price points. We kind of have like the Tesla model. What you're sitting in is the Model S plaid mode. That will get upgrades, not over air, but it will get upgrades and get better.
Right, yeah.
But upgrade it and make the best Model S. And then how do we make the Model 3 and the Model Y and carry as much DNA, Anthros DNA, down into different price points?
Interesting.
And Tristan, there's going to be design concessions. It's not going to be this one. This one will be the flagship, the best one. But we're not going to sacrifice and make something chintzy and cheap that's not who I am. That's not what we stand for. We'll always do our best to make it still really good for your body.
Right. I'm not going to argue the idea of that, because I think that having a good design as a base is a great starting point, and then offering it at different levels for different people is also something that is consumer friendly to me. I like that idea a lot. There's a lot of companies that have multiple chair lines, but their base chair sucks. And so the multiple chairs that they offer all suck. And there's one specific company that comes to mind. If you look at my channel, you'll see that one, but we're not going to talk about that. But there's just the idea that I like the base of this. I think that's a good idea, because I'd like to see more people in this chair. And I think that the $2,000 is a tall ask, not because you haven't put the work into it, not because you're not paying for the American made parts, not because, of all the R&D and the work and all the everything that went into it. It's just $2,000 for anyone, especially in the world as it is currently, is a lot of money. And I will always say this to people that listen to me, is that I do think that it is worth investing in two things. One, your chair, if you're specifically like a gamer or like a hardcore gamer, like you're going to spend a lot of time gaming, or you're a programmer, someone that stays at the computer often, right? If you're just like someone that has a laptop and stuff and you're not using it often, then I don't think you should buy a really expensive chair. I don't think you need it. But if you are really doing these things, you should invest in that, because it's hurting you if you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And your bed. Like, those are the two things that you should be putting a lot of money into. And I have like a $5,000 bed, and I didn't think twice about it, because I bought it once. And it will last me X amount of years until I break down all the parts. And then I have to, renew it, obviously. A bed will, disintegrates after time.
So on your bed quick, if I may. I'm glad you said bed. I was like, please say bed, because we believe in that as well. How many hours do you sleep?
Not enough.
6 to 8, sound fair?
Sure, yes.
6 to 8, I think that's for most. Some people aspire to get 6 and are only 4s, but whatever. 6 to 8 is what we strive for. When you lay down for 6 to 8 hours, you can't herniate a disc. You can't get a pressure sore, or you can't hurt your sit bones. You can't hurt your tailbone. You can't dislocate your shoulder. The bed, when you're laying down, doesn't hurt you. But we have been trained to believe that sleep is so important for us. We need this expensive mattress. And I believe I've got a purple mattress. I love mine's a number 2. And I don't know what you got, but I too believe that you should have a nice bed, because that is the time to recharge and reset you. But then when you get up, if you're an office worker, if you're a gamer, if you're a office worker, and then I'm a casual gamer on the side, and then I sit even more, that chair can do harm to you from sitting in it poorly. The mattress doesn't slip somebody's disc or herniate him, but sitting poorly will do it. So the chair is the thing that we should maybe if you don't want to say, I don't want to invest $2,000 in the chair, but why don't you look at the chair as being the culprit for your back pain? Not that I inherited it from my parents, or it's because I don't go to the gym. It might just be from the way you're sitting. And I'm telling you, it only takes a few things wrong to hurt you, to get sciatica, to hurt your L4 or L5 or your S1. And your pelvis only has to be a few degrees out of alignment. And you do that for year after year in the same chair, because I got it for $300, $400, $500, $700, and I thought that was the right amount. Those companies didn't put the right things in it, so that didn't happen to you. So to me, I got in this because I wanted to help people, Tristan, and I think the chair is the devil between the two. And I apologize that I couldn't make it for $500. I'll do my best on the next models to get it down there, but this is what we developed. We threw everything at it, and it's the best of the best and nice materials, and we think it helps your body, and this is a starting point.
What made you choose, say, foams and fabrics versus, say, mesh?
Good question. Mesh, to get it to work, you need a frame, and the frame's hard. And if you don't want your back, your scapula, or any part of your body to touch it, the frame's got to go wider. And then when the frame goes wider, it doesn't allow you to sit the way, whoop, I got to turn the tension up. It doesn't allow you to sit.
Yep.
There we go. Better, a little better. When you sit down with your arms at your side, your arms are behind you. they're alongside the back. And if I grab the Aeron and I sat on that one, your elbow, your funny bone hits the plastic.
Yeah.
So they've got to go wider to not hit the frame on your ribs or other parts of your body. And the same, that's the back problem with mesh. And then on the cushion problem, mesh, yes, it's breathable, but for it to work and last over time, they got to make it drum tight so it doesn't sag. And then there's a hard edge at the front that they try and mask or roll away. And that takes away from loading your legs. Anyways, the point is it's drum tight and you have higher pressures. We do pressure studies and they're triple what it is on this chair. And for human, here's a little wheelchair carryover, guys. Sorry to get human nerdy, but in the hierarchy of how you protect a human for comfort over time, first it's pressure, softness.
Sure.
Then it's shear, like sitting and slouching in your chair and tugging on your tissue that causes pain and will get you to move. And microclimate, even in the wheelchair world, we talk about it and we've tried to quantify it and we've tried to say that it's important and people sweat and it makes their tissue soft, but it does not hurt you and cause pain, even remotely pain. We're talking about remotely as close to pressure and shear. And the best way to tackle pressure and shear in the wheelchair world is 1, you can do it with air, or 2, you can do it with foam. Yes, we've played with gel as well, but the best medium to sit on is still foam. It's a gold standard. It's not the devil that everybody makes it out to be, but marketing companies have said that, mesh is best. And I look at mesh and I go, that's high peak pressures on your sit bones. If you like fidgeting and putting pressure on your tailbone, if you're going to slouch in this thing, you're setting yourself up for, 10 years of a pain ride, says the wheelchair guy. So, yeah.
Yeah. I did take the seat apart and I did get to see the 2 holes right where your butt goes.
Yeah.
What is that doing essentially?
Yeah. What it does is, everybody knows what their sit bones are. The best way to think about it is let's all sit on a bleacher seat. You can feel your sit bones down there, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to do one of 2 things. You're going to cross your legs and you're going to cross your leg and you lift up your right one and give it a break, but then you're putting all the pressure on the left one. You're going to reverse and go the other direction without kneeing the person in front of you. And then you're going to probably try and find a way to not hit the knees behind you and hang your sit bones off the back of the bleacher seat.
Definitely done that, yeah.
Yeah, we all have, everybody knows this, and that's your sit bones. Those guys are what tell you to fidget or not because of too high of pressure. And, it's chasing pain. Your body tells you what to do, and you just don't realize what you're doing to get out of pain. And the ambition with the domes is when those sit bones go down onto the cushion,
mm-hmm.
There's a negative cavity down below. There's just about an inch of foam at the top of that dome. So you come down your sit bones, instead of compressing all the foam to the point that it gets firm, now it's softest through that area without putting a different softer foam. And there's some people put like a visco foam insert in there, but then you can feel the transition from the standard foam to the visco, and it's a little off-putting, and the domes just collapse. You can picture it. You put light pressure on it, it just bows down and allows your sit bones to sink deep into the cushion. The rest of the cushion's a little firmer, and that holds the rest of your tissue, your butt mass, your leg, your thigh mass, and it just works. It's a low-tech, very effective solution. Patented by him.
It is. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Yeah, because I'll tell you, it's the one thing, and I think that's the reason why I don't get that tailbone and that butt. Like 3 hours at a video game for some reason just will get you, like that specific hour point. And it's like, I don't feel that after sitting in this chair. It's interesting. I will say this, since I have the fabric and the leather, and so the leather definitely holds the pad in stronger, and I can sit longer on that one, versus the fabric. Over time, I do start to feel it go a little bit lower, and I will start to feel a little bit of, not the like I gotta stand up because holy shit, it's like radiating through my whole body, but it definitely is. It's quicker than the leather version, You might not even know that, so it might be helpful information.
No, you're spot on, and that here's a material choice. Leather is taut.
Yes.
It's more taut. So we call it hammocking. Like it spans across the soft, it's bolstered down to the sides of that top panel. It's taut left to right, like a hammock.
Yeah.
And you got enough move that you can sink down into the cushion, but it doesn't have much stretch. So it's kind of not letting you go as deep as the Athlon material or the cloth one, where that one's got a little bit of stretch. And yeah, your sit bones are powerful little things, and they stretch the fabric a little more, and you go down a little more, and yeah, it can happen. The first cover design that we had was boucle, and it had a very big 4-way stretch. I mean, huge, and everybody loved it. It's like a marshmallow, but over time of sitting on it, maybe a little too much stretch, where you could sink down, you could feel the bottoming out for somebody that's really bony.
Right.
Again, all different body types have different sitting experiences on the different materials, and I wish I could make one for everybody and have you come into like a select comfort, where you come in and try it out.
Yeah.
And in the right density and the right back and the right softness and the right fabric, and then send you home with that. But we're not quite there yet.
The one thing that I think is interesting about this chair for me specifically is that I'm 5'10", and I know that's not super tall, but I find that if you watch most reviewers of chairs, they're 5'8" and shorter, maybe even shorter than that, like 5'7", 5'6" and shorter. And they love all the chairs that I hate, every single one. They love the Fern. They love, they love everything anyway, that aside, I'm pretty sure I'm on like a fucking blacklist. They have my picture hung up in their company. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that this is the first chair that seems to actually cater towards a taller person, that not only is taller, but like I work out, so I have some mass here, but I also eat cookies, so I have some mass here. So it's like, it's a good balance for someone my height. But then you include a footrest, and I've noticed that this chair, even for me as someone that's 5'10", especially when you start to go into those different angles, without a footrest, this chair is very difficult to sit in. You definitely need one. Recently, this is a long one, sorry, but like recently there's another company that is kind of actually, I noticed there's some similarities in marketing. I'm not going to say the company, but I've noticed some similarities. Regardless, they did come out with an interesting footrest. And I know that you've been, you've talked about how you like to innovate on the different designs on different things. And so the footrest that comes with the Anthros is pretty generic. It's something, it's just a normal plastic one that goes like this. Have you considered a footrest that is maybe a little bit more along the lines of like the Anthros ethos, right?
100%. The footrest was a pilot study, and there's an anthropometric and ergonomic story behind why we sent a footrest out, and also why the Anthros chair sits a little higher than most. One, there's a fair amount of mechanism and unique things to get the knee tilt to happen. Number two, we've got a pretty thick cushion, thicker than a lot of the others by a lot. A lot more than mesh, more than like an embody. Maybe the gaming chairs have about the same thickness of a cushion, but a lot harder. But in doing that, it raised the lowest seat to floor height up. And it was like, okay, let's maybe bring the cushion down. And as we went down and cut it in half, it was like, now the pressure that you talked about, the sit bone pressure, tailbone pressure is coming back up. And I was like, okay, pause. This is the best cushion. People will find this comfortable. It's going to feel like a cloud. We got to get them out of pain. We got to lock that and own it. Okay. Can I make it go lower to the ground? Nope. You stack up the wheels and the base and the cylinders and the mechanism and the seat structure. Okay. There's no way to get it down. Okay. Scarlet ladder. to give you a comfortable ride is this seat to floor height at a minimum. But what we looked at is we started giving it to a bunch of people in, the first pilot chairs. And we noticed that a lot of people love to get their seat to floor height so that their feet are flat on the floor. But the desk became the troublemaker in furniture design, or I should say the standard height of a desk being at 30 inches.
Yes.
30 inches is pretty tall.
It is.
And for me, I've got it in front of me. Your shoulders go up to get onto the desk.
Yes.
And when they get up, you hunch, these muscles shorten and tighten, and you can be in the Anthros chair yet, but if you're going to reach up and forwards onto your desk because you want feet flat on the floor,
it's the worst. It's
the lower half and put up the upper half.
It bothers me more than anything. The height, the normal height on non-like adjustable desks. It makes me crazy.
Yep. So in comes the foot support. It was like, let's give a foot support away with every chair. Nobody uses foot support. Nobody buys them. It's not a popular item to talk about. Why don't we give them away? And let's see if they use them. Let's see on follow-up. So do you like are you using it? Or, let's not give them a $200 foot support because they're probably just going to throw it away, a percentage of it. And we had the guilt of how many are going to go in the landfill. So it was like,
right.
Let's go win, get the job done. We wanted height adjustment and we want the angle flexion, plantar flexion movement. So it did the job. And no, it's not Anthros-esque, but again, functionally, it checked all the boxes. Sent them out. And what we found with the follow-up is how many people said, oh my God, I didn't know how much I wanted or needed a foot support. And the premise is instead of putting your feet flat on the floor and reaching up, instead, raise your chair up higher than you ever have, such that when you're sitting with your chair set up properly, your arms at your side, your elbows are here, and you're at desk height now. Yes, my feet are dangling. They're just barely touching.
Yeah.
And now you use foot support, and people were going, oh my God, I just didn't know. And that was a little bit of experimental. Let's give them an ergonomic tool, tell them how to use it, and see if it's actually working. And it was a huge success. So to answer your question, are we looking at a better foot support? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. It's good. It works. There's nothing wrong with it right now, but we can do a little better.
So I'm lucky, and I've had a very good chiropractor for a lot of my life, and not one of the ones that is like, let's adjust you so that you have to come back tomorrow. He will adjust you once a year and you're good to go. And I was getting, the normal this, right? Like a lot of people complain about this. I don't get this anymore. I don't have pain here anymore. And the reason for that is because I did exactly what you were talking about, and I already had a footrest. So when the footrest came, yeah, but mine is different. Mine is actually like a foam footrest that's just rounded, and then behind it is a square footrest like this. And so when I am gaming for a long session, I put my feet up almost like I'm almost like fully extended, as if I had like I was in a recliner. Yeah, and then when I'm working, my foot is on it's like a half a circle, right? Yeah. And it's just very soft, and it's great. And so my position is always in line with this tall, annoying sized 31.25 inch desk, because I had to learn that because I got a chair to review and I actually could not get the arms under or above the desk because the height was just different than what their chairs were used to. And so the chair was I couldn't use the chair. And I was like, wow, my desk literally just stopped me from using a chair. And so I understand that completely, because I will always raise my chair higher, especially as a tall person. And then as a tall person, you would think that we'd be able to put our feet down easier, but it's not the case. Especially with a bigger chair like this, like a seat like this. You're right. When you say it's like the thickness of a gaming chair, you're correct. It's about that same.
I'm 6'1", and I use a foot support all the way down, and I kind of keep my heels on the floor, just barely on the floor and a little bit on that because I only need a little bit. But everybody out there, you got to try it. Experiment right now with your chair at home. You can get if you're this person, you don't need an Anthros chair or some magic foot support. Do a low-tech experiment. Go grab, first of all, raise your chair all the way up like he said, so that when you put your arms down at rest, adjust your arm supports up, and that's where your desk should be. You can maybe have your desk a little higher because it kind of feels good to reach up just a little bit. And once you have that, go find something around your house to fill in the gap underneath your feet and just try it for a week. And what's going to happen is instead of this and these tightening up and getting this, they're going to go down, they're going to stretch out, and that neck pain at the end of the day is going to be gone. Tristan's a perfect example. And that is why we offer foot support. And that's why unapologetically, I don't mind if my seat to floor height's a little higher, because our posture consult specialists are going to say, use the foot support. Trust me.
No, and they're right. And I agree. You guys should do what he just said, honestly. Like, this is, I have never been in better, I have great posture because I had a crazy ex-stepmother who used to fucking come at your back as you were walking through the house and just nail you right in between. So you would do this. And so I'm very used to walking like full posture. And so when I sit, I'm usually pretty damn postured. But the problem with that was that I wasn't used to the whole, like, you know, like I was like, okay, well, I gotta. And so when I finally just kind of gave that a little bit of a relaxed, this is pretty neutral and it doesn't hurt at all. And if you get the soft little cushiony things that I have, it actually raises your armrest even more. And so you have to even adjust for that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So look, those are the easy questions. I'm now going to ask you the hard questions. So I hope you're ready.
Let's go.
Hey everyone, it's Editing Tristan here. So I thought that this would be necessary. As you can see on the timeline, we're about to jump into the difficult area, right? And this is where me and Steve kind of go at each other pretty good. Steve gets defensive, I get counter defensive. This is just two people discussing and being very passionate about something. And I wanted to disclaimer that because a lot of people are going to see it as possibly us fighting or him being too defensive or me being too offensive. We're having a good conversation, and this was actually our first beginning of the podcast. It shouldn't have been. I had all the warm-up questions that you just heard and like all that stuff prepared, but for some reason, like because of the way it went, we just jumped right into the really hard stuff. So we built no report at that point. Also, our computers died in between because this is a very long podcast. And so that's why you're going to see two different computers. It was from basically a pee break and then them having to get a new computer because his had basically fried itself. He didn't know that like I was coming at this from like, I really love this chair aspect. He still had that like, you know, Redditors are coming after me. And I get that. But I also think it's really important for y'all to see this uncut and just raw, because this is who we are. This is a conversation between two very passionate people, and no one here is right or wrong. And it opens up a lot of information for all of you. And so I hope this is helpful. Are you aware that there are some inconsistencies in the materials and the finishes? So for instance, on both of these, the roller wheels on the bottom, the metal finish there has like inconsistencies in the way that it was made or polished or whatever. Like if you look at a Herman Miller chair on their base, and then you look at the Anthros on the base, it almost looks like there's white streaking on the Anthros.
That's the glass. That's nylon in it. Yeah. It's not an imperfection. It's just what it looks like if you don't paint it afterwards. So this falls into a design concession of we wanted to make a tank. I want to make something that lasts forever. And my business partner happens to own 5 different locations that sells new, not Miller Knoll or Steelcase or stuff like that, you know, middle brand stuff. But he does decommissions and refurbs. So he just has 5 locations with a sea of chairs. So while we were designing this, we were looking at how the other guys were lasting. What do they look like? You know, if like you were Crandall, what does Crandall see? They got to bring them in, they got to sand them, then they paint them, and they do a lot of sanding and painting because the base is chip. Anything that's painted can chip. And if you hit it and you bash into the desk, it can chip and it starts looking older. So we made a very strong design concession to say, I'm not painting this thing to make it look perfect when you pull it out of the box, because you're going to hit the base into something and it's going to chip at some point in time. So let's not do that. Let's just do the standard black. I mean, we call it a B surface. It's in shadow. You're not doing glamour shots of it yourself. Under your desk, you can't see it. And your chair is just going to look better over time versus the ones that are painted, powder coated. So it was with intention that we did that.
So and we're talking about the same thing, the base with the wheels, the spokes.
Yeah, absolutely. The base. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes depending on how it came out of the tool, you can see some of the glass fill. They call it flow, or like how the material flows through the tool and out to the legs. And yeah, you can occasionally see how it was flowing, but that doesn't make it imperfect or bad in our opinion. It was kind of a design concession going, let's use the 50% glass fill nylon, because one of the other problems that we saw, speaking of just the base, is what we call creep. And it's creep with the cylinder. And when you try and use cheap plastic or not much of the glass fill nylon into it, and you don't put there's a little metal steel ring that we insert into it, and you sit on these things over and over again with 300, 400 pounds, the aluminum can creep. A cheap base without the ringlet in there and no glass filled content can creep, and your cylinder creeps down to the floor, and then people are banging when they plop down on the ground and they're hitting the cylinder and chipping their floor, or they're cracking their tile. And it was like, let's put everything we can at this and not let this problem happen either. So more glass filled content and a little metal ring in there, so the cylinder never slides down over time. Right. Again, with intention.
Okay. So I have to ask, because, devil's advocate. So like, I own a Herman Miller Aeron. I've owned it for about 13 years, and I've never replaced the base, right? And it still looks beautiful, like the day it was done. And it's a smooth finish. It's like a smooth black. It hasn't changed. And I don't have any issues with it. So, I mean, like, and if you looked at yours, you might see the same.
Mine's a brand new one, remastered, and I've got the plastic textured base, and it looks like.
I have the. Mine is.
I can't do the camera. This doesn't move now.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So I have the. I mean, I'll show B-roll of what I'm talking about, but like, I have the aluminum.
Hold on 1 second, Sam. Just come over here. Hey, we got him. Let's do it quick.
All right.
So I happen to have a brand new Aeron. Never been used before other than at shows and whatnot. I tip it down to the base, and you can see if you put the two legs together, theirs is textured, ours is as well. Ours is a little bit more of a pure back. Theirs is a little more of a, what do they call it, like an anthracite. But you can see little scuffs on it from being moved around, you know what I mean? And
so that's a plastic base, you're saying?
Yeah, this is a plastic based one. I don't know what they have in it, but I'd like to say on camera, other than just do colors, ours is a richer black, and it's a plastic part. If you've got a smooth one, it's probably a cast aluminum base that they then powder coated or painted.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be anodized, or it might be anodized. Mine, and it's definitely still smooth, but it's definitely metal. So I don't have plastic. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. So
that's how you get to the base price over here, and then they'll charge you for the painted, and then they'll charge you more for the polished one.
Well, so I know this is where you're gonna hate me, because I'm gonna question a lot of things, and it's the Herman Miller Aeron, right? It cost me $1,650, I believe, when I bought it. Now, that, mind you, this was 13 years ago, so I know their prices have gone up a bit. But they also have the same. You guys have the same warranty period, correct? The 25 years. Yeah. So
the 12 years.
I'm sorry, 12 years.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what I feel is, so let me add on to this. And so there's other things that I found that were a little bit inconsistent. So there were glue marks on like the seams on the armrests that I saw. Like, you could literally see and scratch out the glue from the different versions. So like, that was one thing that I saw. Then there was uneven textures on the arms themselves, the ones where they connect to the metal, like where you lift up, like the hole.
Mhm.
And then there were color shifts between some of the parts, like the legs, the arms, the back, and also the you know how the you know how obviously you do, but the Anthros, it has
The
the like,
cuff, yeah.
yeah, so it's like a spine in the back.
Mhm.
If you even touch your desk with that thing, you've scuffed it. And I noticed it because I did it and I had the chair for 3 days. And so when I met with Ashley to talk about, you know, hey, what was my experience? The sit is out of this world. But when you look at the price point of 2000, you would think that you might want the powder coating, or you might want the extras that you would get in like the same $2,000, say, Herman Miller.
Mhm.
Because that's Herman Miller. And I mention them not because they're necessarily better, but because you're in the competing area of this. Herman Miller is $2,000 and like the industry standard, right? And you have your chair that is $2,000, and so it's essentially in the same ballpark.
It's plastic, and this one's scuffed black right at their logo because this obviously backed into a wall or something. It's scuffed through here. There's black marks down at the base, and if Simon showed you this, this is a perfect example of Simon. Grab the camera one last time. It was new. We bought it new, but we've been using it, and you can see the base, gets blemished. There's a blem here. You get fingerprints on it. Each one of these is gummed up. Here's an example of the aluminum that's showing. And
Right.
this is the cast aluminum base.
This is also
A
a
chair is
white.
only as good as you take care of it. So if you smash it into the desk and you scuff it, it can get scuffed. Even if you are Herman Miller, they're not.
No, of course. I'm just saying, owning a chair for 12 years and not having the same damage marks, right, that this chair has taken in the last 3 days, that's the hard part for me to swallow. And I understand why you're saying what you did, right? But I think that there are some places where there can be improvement for giving the longevity of the visual aspect, because the visual aspect is so important for people. Desk inspiration and like all that stuff where people are making their space theirs. Like my example for what good customer service looks like for expensive items. And I use, because I do the keyboard reviews, I use Wooting as an example. They released a zinc alloy keyboard in white. The white was chipping. So by the way, the Herman Miller, like the one that you just showed me, I don't give them a pass for that either. I think that that's bullshit. And I think that they should make whatever their coating is better, because if you're getting a chair at that price point, I don't think that if you tap your desk or something like that, that it should scuff, or they should cover it in the warranty. So if it gets to a certain point, they will help you to refurbish it. Anyway.
And I would say I can't go to that camp. And this is where you're not going to like that I push back. And I'm
No,
going
it's
to put my
fine.
Anthros cap on as the VP of product development here. And I know the guys. I know all the head of product development, not my buddies, but I know who they are and I respect what they do at all the majors. They got names for themselves. And trying to put the onus back onto the manufacturer and saying, because this chip, this is your fault because I ran it into the desk. I think it's like saying my car got a ding or a dent or a scratch in the parking lot and I want you to cover it. It's only as good as the person who doesn't damage it, in my opinion. Now, it shouldn't fall off over time. It shouldn't peel or chip or fade and be UV stable. I'm all for that. But a powder coated aluminum part is powder coated aluminum part. I don't think that they have magical powers to make it the powder coating any stronger than automotive grade or anything else.
But there are, an iPhone, like there's different, like, you put Gorilla Glass on an iPhone, right? And there's different levels where that Gorilla Glass will eventually scratch. So your keys are not going to destroy your iPhone, but if you have something that's a more dense material, it will. So for instance, hitting a like plaster made desk onto the back of a chair that's aluminum should not necessarily make permanent damage. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that it just seemed weird that there, and I'm not saying it damaged the chair physically. I'm just saying it blemished the chair where it was like, oh, I didn't think that would. Anyway, this is obviously this is a circular idea, and I get that. So let's chat about something that's a little more, I think, to me, polarizing, and it's the change that you recently did to the handles on the to adjust the Anthros.
Yeah.
And so they're now a grippier material. And they come in black because they were always in the gray, right? And okay. And so I think that's great that you're offering the black, and I like that a lot. However, that grippy material, the minute you touch it, no matter what, even if I've tried cleaning it, it picks up your oils, it picks up your skin, it picks up your dust, it picks up cat hair, it picks up really everything in the room. It's an improvement for color, but it's not an improvement for functionality.
It wasn't an improvement for color, and it was for functionality, says the guys that made the design concessions again. So on a control knob, a lot of companies, the cheaper ones, just use hard plastic. It's textured plastic, and it's hard and it's slippery. And if you're just pulling up a lever or something, it doesn't matter. But if you have to put an input force to it to actually do something, especially if you have the user's weight in the chair and the force can increase. So like a tension knob on the front, you got to have some grip to it, because I might be sitting in a little bit of tilt and now it's even harder to turn. And if it's really hard plastic and slippery, you're not going to you're going to slide on it. You're going to have a different experience with the chair. Now, as you go up in these, the Secret Labs, hard plastic, no overmolding. The Leap, overmolded. On the control knob in the back, on the control on the front, their paddles don't have it. The Gesture has, all of them are overmolded, every single one of them, including the height adjustment.
What does overmolded mean?
Rubber overmolded. It's a secondary process. So you shoot the part. If this is the part, this is perfect. So first I make a plastic part.
I like how you're like a nerd that like really enjoys what he does. So
yeah. So you start with a plastic part.
Sure.
And then this grippy part that we use is the same concept. This was probably installed on where I could take it off, but like your toothbrush, curling irons, things that have a rubber, it's called like most people would use the word a rubber overmolding on it. And then you can texture this. You can change the durometer. You can make it more gummy. You can make it sticky. You can make it super soft touch like on your toothbrush.
Sure.
It's a secondary process. It costs a lot more to do that, because now I need a tool for the first part, and then I got to take this part out and put it into the next tool and injection mold the next component on it. So as a manufacturer, we're spending more to give you a better component. And
if the better component makes the chair over time look dirtier,
well,
is that worth it?
Even the Aeron has a full overmold, and again, going back to the Embody.
The Embody is like such. I hate comparing to the Embody, because I really do think that chair is like the most overpriced chair I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I'm just telling you what we manufacturers do for ergonomics. And this to me is the only thing, and I say this all the time when people go, is your chair ergonomic? I would say the only thing that I really put ergonomics to was the control knobs. It's the diameter, it's the position, it's the amount of torque that a human body can put in. And we measured different diameters with a gauge on it, seeing how much you can put in here versus how much you can put in here. And then made sure we designed the size and the output shaft and the amount of grip that you can put into it, tied back to the threading pitch of moving the human body. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that silly little control knob. And the grip was with absolute intention, and tape some dollar bills to it to make it better versus just doing a cheap plastic one. And if I made a cheap plastic one that didn't get the cat hair, you'd say for a $2,000 chair,
I wouldn't, because I have on my no, you know what I would say? I would say, like, look at, for instance, the Herman Miller Aeron. Mine has, instead of doing the rubbery plastic that picks up all the oils from your body, right? They do a notched turning thing. And so it's easy to grip. And it's a
it's
hard
rubber. The whole
plastic.
thing is no, it's rubber overmolded. The plastic is on the shaft just like ours,
But it
and the
does
tip
not
that's got the grooves on it, it's rubber.
but it's not grabbing your oils. Like that one is not the same texture or materials
Yeah, it's
as
a smooth. It's the same TPU is what it is, but yes, ours is textured more than that one.
right. And so that
But same rubber and plastic
yeah,
design idea.
just a difference in how it looks over time. And this is literally my only qualms with the Anthros. Well, there's two qualms, but it's like the first qualm is just the aesthetic things that make it over time look dirty, and that extends to the armrests, which for me is not a problem because I put like a padded armrest on mine. I always have. I'm a sucker. I like the Alaudi like padded armrest just because no matter how soft an armrest is, it's never soft enough for me.
Well, you got a bony prominence there with like a quarter
No,
inch thick of skin before the bone. So heck yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'll look at this. Like I have padding and I'm already red just from, so
Yep.
it's like, I really like to cover it. However, when I first used it, I did notice that, this is also that sticky material. Like it's like a rubber that has a little bit of grip. And I understand why you would want that so you don't slide in your arms, but over time, meaning 3 days of using the Anthros brand new, my chair looked like I had dropped, some paint on it of white skin. Like it really looked disgusting. Like it was not, and I'm not saying that to be, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm edgy. I'm saying that because it's something that is very important to a lot of people, and at a price point of $2,000, the aspects like that, I feel your chair should still look like the day you got it, at least a year after having it.
yeah. And there's the industry is very small, and just so you know, no, I'm not picking on Herman Miller. We're not picking on any one brand, but
No,
we're comparing lines. If you build a pickup truck, somebody's going to talk about Chevy, GMC, Ford, Toyota. I mean, it's just part of the deal. So it's a very small industry in Michigan, and I looked at using the exact same factory where those the gesture, not the gesture, the embody and the Aeron arms are. I chose another one, but it's still the same process with the same materials and the same thing. I mean, we all make certain components out of the same materials because they've got to last a certain amount. They got to pass BIFMA standards. They got to be rammed into a desk 10 million times to get a pass for them.
right.
And we all use very similar textures. There's a standard scale of textures. You just specify the number. I won't get too nerdy, but every component in your life that's on a plastic part, whether it's from this texture on this to the texture on the bottom, is specified, and they acid wash the tool. So we choose the textures, and we try and match them across the chair so that it's not like 5 different textures and something jumps out at you. So we all kind of pick the one that we like, and we just run it through the chair. So our arms are, I could have told you, I was this close. I could have told you, well, you like the embody and the Aarons are better. What if I told you they're in the same factory?
Well, that would mean anything to me. That would be a deflection, in my opinion. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like the fact is that the Aeron that I have has that texture that's it looks shiny and new still after 12 years. Like it has some scratches, obviously not scratches, but like some marks from going on the desk, and that's 12 years of use. It does not have my oils and my skin on it, and that's just because of the rubbery, like, the texture of this is a grippy, albeit good for holding your arm in place. And honestly, it has a good give versus, say, like, other chairs that I won't mention at this time. But that the fact that it just starts to look dirty and cleaning it is very difficult because of that texture as well, because the actual like gooey material almost comes off. Like I used a Clorox wipe, and the Clorox wipe got like gooey in my hand. Like it was. I did it. I did it with Ashley while she was watching, because she was like, "Oh, could you wash it off?" And so I was like, "Yeah, let me try it." And I was like, "Oh wow, my hands are now the texture and material of the armrests." And so these are just the little like quality control things that I guess I don't expect to happen on a chair that charges $2,000. Yes, it absolutely does the main thing that you say that you want it to do, and it fixes the sit. It keeps me in the most insane posture, comfortable aspect. It doesn't hurt my butt. It has not, my sciatic pain has not flared up. And in an overall general consensus, this chair is the most comfortable chair that I've sat in. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I wanted to bring up things like this and not hold punches. And I wanted to say, look, as a consumer, I don't mind, and I tell this to my audience all the time, I say, I don't mind spending a lot of money up front if I don't have to buy it again. But when I see something like the version 2, right? So you added the new handles on version 2 with a stickier grip, and so they get dirty. I see that as a downgrade. And so when I then touch the armrests and they have a sticky material and they have my skin stuff on them, I see that as a downgrade. And so I understand why you did that, because of the placement. It is hard to grip these sometimes, which I'm sure there's an engineering reason they're not a little bit more forward versus like where they are currently to adjust the different adjustments.
Yeah, part of it's you need a pivot point. You need the back arms to go somewhere. They got to travel a certain spot. Then you need to put a gearbox in there.
Yeah,
and
there's only enough
you
space.
have a target of where you'd like to have them, but guess what? They kind of got to be about here. Otherwise, this mousetrap isn't going to ever come to life.
Right. That's kind of what I was figuring, because the distance was like, oh wow, these are very far back, and that's fine. You can adjust that, and you only have to adjust the chair once or twice, right? So it's not like you're messing with them a tons of times. But when you do adjust them, it's just that like coming back into your desk and into your office, and you look at your chair, which you want it to look nice. You got the nice carbon fiber back, like you said, or you have the wooden back, and you have this beautiful like facade at your desk, and then you see the armrests, and you see the base, and you see like the streaking, and then you see the adjustment levers, and you're like, man, did my cat like make out with that? Like what happened? And so it's just to me, it's unfortunate that I would love to see like.
I like it that it's sticky and it's using it as a back scratcher. Maybe your cat's enjoying it when you're not around, and that's why the cat hair is attracting to it, because it's going, ooh, this knob's at the right point, and oh, it's the perfect texture. It feels so good.
I guess it's.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if that's what you intended it to be like, and you have no intention of like changing that going forward, then that's not something that I'm going to argue with you. It's your chair, it's your decision. To me, it doesn't quite add up in the complete package.
I'd say if I could have on my right hand and left hand the head of product developments at all the majors, and we did a teardown of the Anthros chair, the first thing that they'd probably tell me is, I can't believe that you put 50% glass fill nylon in there. We would never put that much glass content. And I'd said, well, I did it because I wanted it to be 400-pound rated. I didn't want it to creep and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, but you're taping dollar bills to it. That was a design concession that I made. And me, that's putting more money into the chair that you good. You might not like the finish of it. I did choose not to paint it because I didn't want it to chip. I'm not afraid of you bashing it into the desk and you mashing a little of the texture off of it, but because it's black all the way through, you shouldn't notice it as much as the white one, where it does chip off and it shows aluminum, a different color behind it. You got a black base and then you chip it, you see the metal behind it, so it really jumps out at you. That won't happen with this. So I did this with the intention so that looks better longer that it's out in the field. So I'm going to own the base for what it is. And
Sure.
The arm stalks that you talked about, that too is a 50% glass fill nylon and subject to a little bit of the streaking in it, or where they call it the glassing, where the glass rises to the surface and you can see it. Maybe not on every part. It's not perfect. It's not solid jet black. If I made it jet black, it'd just be standard PA6 and it wouldn't have the strength and it wouldn't be BIFMA rated. Now, all these chairs behind me are rated BIFMA 5.1. That's where you test them 295 pounds.
Okay.
Our chair's rated to BIFMA 5.11. We test it with a 400-pound occupant. So the arms can handle 400-pound load, the back, the base, every part on the chair. And to get there, we made the design concession to put more glass fill content into the chair. No, according to you, she's not a cream puff beauty, and you can see a little variation from part to part. But unapologetically, I'm the guy that's got to sign up for the 12-year warranty. So if I know that I'm going to rate the chair to 300 pounds, I sure as hell want to make sure that it's tested and can pass 400 pounds, because I am the new kid on the block. And Tristan, I was getting beat up when I launched. Like, how dare you offer a 12-year warranty? You're brand new. And I sat back going, well, I know how I built the damn thing, and it's going to last.
I'm not questioning anything that you just said. Like that's not even a concern of mine. My only concern is the certain materials used on, very specifically, the new upgraded version 2 knobs.
Control knobs.
And the armrests material. The spokes, you've explained what that is, why it is like that, and that you don't want to, powder coat it or whatever. That's fine. Like, but what about
I did one.
this?
If I did one, though, I will be clear for the viewers to know. Am I anti-metal base? No, I'm not. But I've got like two halves of me: the human half, and then we'll call it the process half. And the human half is, I've been around the world to lots of different factories, and they don't make very many aluminum bases here in North America. They make them somewhere else, and they don't polish them here in North America either, because it's a dirty process, And I'm not going to say that I'm really for it. However, I would love to do, if I was ever going to do a metal base, it would be a polished aluminum one, because it looks pretty. You put the time into it, you jeweled it up, right? You really put something behind it. And when you hit a polished base, nothing chips off of it. And you can see the scuffs on it and cuts, but not as bad as if you powder coated the aluminum. And powder coating is cheaper than polishing because of all the man hours that go into it. It's easier to pull the casting off, clean it up quick, and hang it on the line and let it go around and get powder coated, versus taking it, buffing, and getting every little nuance out of it. So I'm not anti-metal. Let me just be clear on that. But there's process. There's trade-offs with every design. Everything you choose has a trade-off.
Of course.
You want the base to be twice as much. If I polish it, it's going to be more than twice as much to do that.
Well, so I guess that brings me to one question, although I would love to circle around and actually answer the question. Like, do you think that the upgrade to the version 2 with the stickier materials on the knobs and stuff is okay? Like, is that something?
So,
like, would you?
I really appreciate your feedback on this stuff. I do, and I'm not deflecting, and I don't want it to sound like I won't change or consider any of this. But the arm pads have not changed. I'm still burning through the original batch of arms that I bought a while ago. I placed a very large order and bought over a year's worth to get a big discount on the chair. So
Sure.
Those arm pads are the exact same ones that we launched with. There's been no change on that.
Okay.
The control knob, we did while we were developing the black one, we changed and made it softer because it was too hard and slippery. And the original ones, I'd say I had to make a concession on and take them the way they were when they came off the tool. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted. This is too slippery. It's too hard. Why did I spend all the money on the overmolding process if it's almost as hard as the plastic part? I should have just made the whole damn thing out of plastic. I was angry at the first batch of control knobs that you're in love with. And I softened it up and worked with
I'm not saying I'm in love with the old ones. I'm just saying that the new ones, because I never got to try the old ones. I just know that the old ones would not have picked up your hand stuff.
The old ones are really hard and slippery, in my opinion. So yeah, we worked really hard. It was a pain in the butt to get a new supplier in there and get this new polymer on that line to get what I was looking for. And when you said you dislike them. When we made the change, we had a lot of positive feedback to people that got a new chair, or friends and family. My wife got it, and she's like, "Oh my God, what'd you do different?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "The control knobs, these are amazing." So that's what made me chuckle. I was like, talk to my wife, man. She thinks they're amazing. So I guess it's in the eye of the beholder of what they like and don't like, and what you think is a good design concession versus maybe the next 100 people.
Right.
But I appreciate your feedback, and I will bring everything. I make every note on here that you've told me about. Like I made a note on here that said, check on the mold release on the pads. You know, when you make those pads, you got to spray a mold release in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they skin it, and they do the process, and they pour it, and they make it, and then they cook it. It goes around the line, it bakes, and then they pull it out and they clean them up. Maybe they're not cleaning them enough. Maybe they're leaving a little mold release on. I don't know, but that's my note to go check on, and hopefully
Gotcha.
get back to you going, dude, I told him to scrub it twice as much because it shouldn't feel oily, but maybe it just wasn't cleaned enough. Don't know.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for answering that. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So the other one, I guess, that we've kind of led up to, and then I'll hit you with some more technical questions about like the chair and the aspects of it that I think are really cool, and I'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get this out of the way, 'cause this is the fun part, right? So, and like I said, this video is coming out of a place of love. This is my chair now. Like, I sit in this and I'm very happy. I'm talking to you and I'm still not in pain. And we've been doing this for a while now, setting up everything, and so, and I think a lot of people are going to ask this question, and I don't know how to answer this question for somebody because I don't know what the process is, but why is the chair priced at $2,000? Like,
I get that.
Minimum.
You and 98% of every comment online, no matter what ad we put out there.
I mean, honestly, do you blame them? That's a lot of money.
And all the people that are writing that comment can't see behind the veil, and they just assume because you can get chairs at $200, $300. How dare you charge this much? How can they do it and you can't? And it's really simple, you guys. The chairs you're getting at that price point are coming offshore, and it's a whole different ecosystem over there, from the supply chain to the labor rate to the materials and selections that they use to the testing that they may or may not even do to the chair. They make a lot of design concessions as well and have a very different ecosystem. You guys, you turn on the news and you can see, how about this? What would be the cost to build a stereo receiver? Like, you're an audiophile guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the cost to build a Macintosh versus a Sony?
Right.
I'm sorry, shit's expensive in North America, everybody.
No,
you want it made in America, it is not the same price. Could I make the Anthros chair and sell it for maybe half as much if I did it completely offshore and brought them in containers like a Secret Labs or some of these other chairs that you see on Amazon? Absolutely. Would it ever be a $200 and $300 chair? Impossible.
No, and I'm not saying that this should be a $200 or $300 chair. There's a difference between a Staples chair and what the Anthros feels like. I know that for sure. Like, there's a lot that went into that. I guess it's just, it's
if they took the and I don't own my own factory as well, so unapologetically, sure. I don't own my own factory. I'd be more interested for you to say, how come Steelcase and Herman Miller are charging that? I know that they can make the chair a lot less than I can.
So are they making it overseas, or are they in America? Hey everyone, it's Daytime Editing Tristan, and this has just been quite an endeavor to get this podcast out. But I wanted to pause at this section. Steve is about to get long-winded. And if you ask anyone who knows Steve, he gets long-winded, they'll say. That being said, I'm keeping this in because not only is some of the information very cool to hear and to get his perspective on, but you also get to see the beauty of Steve's evolution here. Remember, I told you that this part of the video was recorded before what you've already seen. And so what you're seeing is the multifaceted way that Steve's brain kind of processes things. And he goes from like, I'm being attacked on Reddit, to oh wait, hold on, that might be a better idea. No, I'm being attacked, I'm ready, but the industry does it this way. But and so you're getting a lot of really cool information that you might not get otherwise. And so I'm going to keep this in, and I just think it really helps to tell the story of what you're going to see later on in this podcast, where Steve has processed everything and has time to have processed everything. And it allows him to take what you're seeing now and then churn it in his brain and think it over and really kind of like go, oh, this is how we can fix it, or this is how we can make it better, or this is why I like Anthros and Steve's company, is because it seems like everybody on their team is looking forward to what can make this chair better and better and better. And so you need to see the process in order to understand where they're going. And so even though this is like really long, this next section, it's deflective, it's angry, it's sad, it's happy. There's so many adjectives for the next section. It's overly obtuse. There's so many things. It's political, where it's almost like he's not answering the question, but at the same time, he's working it out in the back of his head while he's talking. And I think that is such an important quality in a CEO. So watch this knowing that I'm keeping in something a little bit longer that you normally would cut out of something like this, because I think it really truly shows that evolution that I'm trying to reveal, that is why I truly believe in the Anthros chair and those behind it. Are they making it overseas, or are they in America?
I won't give away their recipe, but again, I've been to enough suppliers, all the top suppliers. There are different suppliers of components for chairs, okay?
Right. Well, I mean, I think most of
like
the
Steelcase, how about this? No major manufacturer makes their own cylinders. They buy it, and there's 5 really good cylinder suppliers, from China to Taiwan to South Korea. Those are where they make them. They don't make any in North America, so you got to go over there. There's no places that make cylinders in North America. Casters. Most companies don't make casters. They buy them where? Offshore. Plurality of places. Sure. Textiles come from all around the world. There are very few textile companies in North America. There's a lot of woven fabrics here, but a lot of the other stuff isn't made in North America. Foams we can make here. Plastic we can make here. Die castings, like metal backs and bases, not in North America. It's expensive. There's an amazing one right here, 30 minutes away from where I'm at, Signacast. There's no way in hell I could make it there. The base would cost $150 if I had them do it. I mean, we have to go offshore to get some of the things, even to get the price point where we're at. Italy is a big component supplier. Italy and Germany are probably the 2 best suppliers of components. If you're going to get a mechanism, arms made or gel pads made, you go to those 2 countries, not necessarily, we'll call it offshore.
Germany is also the place where the audio is too. So
we're a little a la carte on some of it, because there are companies that have built business models, designing and innovating, going. I just came back from a show. I was in Germany about a month ago, called Interzoom. Huge show in Cologne, and it's a component show, and it's mattresses, furniture, the legs, the handles, the drawer slides, the latches, the soft closed doors, the every machinery to make a mattress, every mattress machinery piece of equipment was there, from gel to memory foam to the stitching machines, the machines that vacuum suck them down, and the same with furniture, the legs for your chairs, the metal frames that you can buy and then you put your own foams on, the different ways to upholster and drawstring. I mean, we do all use similar techniques and processes, and yes, some suppliers that make some really good stuff that you don't have to always reinvent the wheel. So we do a little a la carte, and we bespoke as much as we can for us. And I'd say the Anthros chair is no different than a very bespoke high-end chair, like a Steelcase, a Leap, a Jester, a Fern, an Embody, an Aeron, a Contessa. Those are the bespoke chairs, and we probably all have about the same ratio of stuff that we bought, which is about this much, versus stuff that we made ourselves and put together and filled the gaps with this, because it just makes sense instead of doing this yourself as well. So where I'm wrapping this all up in.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with it too.
No, because you need to know how a chair is built, because the audience needs to know this, So now you got to buy some of it, but then you got to make some of it. And that's the big part. Where are you going to make it?
Right. And so where do you make majority of your parts?
We make all North America. So the foams are from Wisconsin, the backs and the foams are from Wisconsin, the decorative panels are made in Wisconsin at a different facility. The all the plastic parts are at an injection molding company that's about 18 minutes away from our line,
Was
which
there
is
a
in Grand
specific
Rapids, Michigan.
choice to do that? Like what? Like
Yeah. Now it's supply chain stuff. You're getting different quotes, and this is a platinum level supplier. They happen to work for a couple of the big furniture guys. Let's do our plastic parts here because
sure.
it's a big house and it's a good deal, and they're really good at what they do, and they got good quality, so we choose them. And then all the parts come to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and they're assembled there. And I don't know by weight, but I'd say 80% of the chairs from North America. There's very few parts. It's the mechanism, the cylinders, and the wheels. There's not too much that comes off the textiles. The rest is North America, and that model is more expensive, but I feel like I get to control the quality. The plants are right here. I can work with them. If there is a design problem or a bad batch, I can service it faster and fix it. If there's a squeak or a squawk, or Tristan tells me I'm getting too much streaking in my arms, I can literally drive 18 minutes, go to the factory and say, run that tool, or I want to reduce the glass fill content. Let's drop it down to 30 and see how it looks, because we're getting too much. That's the benefit of doing it in North America. And again, the biggest thing that makes the Anthros chair more expensive than all these other guys behind me is because I have to also use a contract manufacturer. I don't own my own facility.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a company that 200,000 square foot, I occupy X percentage of it, that employs people, that uses their cash, that buys the parts and components and carries it, right? And brings it in, assembles it, does all the quality control, the PPAPing and packaging, and puts the labels on it and ships it. And somebody's got to make some money to do all that work. So now it's not only the bill of materials of the chair or the cost of the components, now it's somebody else had to build it, do it for me, and then wants a little margin. And it makes the cost of my chair, before you guys I put a price tag on it, it's already twice as much as what it would have cost Steelcase or Herman Miller.
How large is your company?
As far as the production facility is 200,000 square foot, and it's a state-of-the-art cell.
Oh, no, I'm saying how large is your company in terms of employees? Because I know you've only been around for 3 years now, 4 years?
If you counted the production people that you need to do it, which they are their employees, but they're my employees per se, right?
Sure.
Probably it takes about 60-ish people, I'd say, to be Anthros, with production, quality, shipping, the assembly line.
So you're still a
sewing.
relatively small company is what I'm...
Yeah, I'd say we're a small company. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Marketing, sales, product development, engineers, quality guys. You add them all up and you get some belly buttons.
I haven't heard that before. Nice. All right. Cool. I mean, it's an interesting...
To the consumers, I'd go, hey, my chair costs more because I don't have my own factory. Why don't you go ask Steelcase and Herman Miller why they're charging that much?
No, I get it. And, like I said, if it's good through and through, I don't mind spending once and not spending again. And I just, I was just curious as to why that price point was what was set. And if it was, well, these are what these guys are doing, so fuck it, let's do it too.
We were designing the chair during COVID. Here's another interesting tidbit. Maybe we would have went offshore. Maybe we would have done something differently. But when I was designing the chair, it was 2019. Shipping ports were closed. You weren't going anywhere. You couldn't go on factory tours. You couldn't get on airplanes. I mean, the whole world was shut down, and the price of tools. Here's another thing, everybody. This chair cost triple the amount to make than we originally budgeted for, which we were quoted for. And it was pre-COVID. We had this quoted and kind of rough idea what it was going to cost us. And then every company in North America extorted the F out of me. Why are my tools triple the amount? Well, it's because of COVID and what's going on. And it's like, wait a minute, you're in the same factory in Michigan with the same amount of employees, with the same lighting bill, the same heating bill, and all this, and the steel prices didn't go up. We can get steel here. Why are you extorting me? Because they could.
Right. Well, I'm one of the weird people that doesn't really Like if it's made in America, woohoo. If it's not, I don't really care. So
Well,
I'm just one of those people. I think as long as it's made well, I don't care where it was made.
yeah,
Personally.
I'm not thumping my chest to the American made thing, but it was
I
literally
know a
like,
lot of
well,
people
we
really
can't go
enjoy that.
offshore. Yeah, we can't go offshore. I'm not going to do this. We're not going to. There were containers, shipping ports shut down, and people weren't getting parts. The furniture industry was going crazy, like they were out of foam. People couldn't make foam. There are lots of stories about some companies got more business than other companies because Steelcase couldn't get foam from the supplier because they couldn't get a certain chemical because they couldn't get it in through the ports. And all this pandemonium was going on in the furniture industry of what you couldn't get. And we just said, it's going to be more, but let's keep it closer to home. I think that's smarter instead of going farther and offshoring more and more of it to make the chair more cost competitive. So I'm a COVID baby, man. That's I got to wear my scarlet letter, and my scarlet letter is a dollar sign. Hey, everybody, I'm not getting 500% margins. I swear to you.
Right. Okay. I'd say that's good enough. I don't think anybody needs to hear any more than that. Like we get it. I think people are going to make the choice based on what their budget is, no matter what. But it's definitely, it's definitely one of those contention points that you hear a lot, especially with this specific chair. And it's mostly, I think, because you're a new company, relatively compared to all the other big hitters, right? And and there's a couple things where you're like, that chair looks like it has less stuff. So like the back seems smaller, right? Because it just holds you in the middle, or like it doesn't have like a headrest and stuff like that. And so you're like, well, what am I paying the $2,000 for?
Here's a good one for material finishes for you to question yourself. What if I told you, I'll give you away one price point on the chair, and you're going to say, I know this is going to upset you, Tristan. You're going to say, why'd you do that? I don't give a shit. But I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
All these chairs have just plastic on them and fabric. It's plastic, metal, and textile and foam. Every single one of them behind me, right? There's only one chair out here that has real carbon fiber, real wood veneers, and they're all at the same price point. The back panels alone, by the time I get it and they're done and they make the plastic part, and then they buy the wood sheet and they cut it, and then they veneer it, glue it, and then they trim it and they sand the edges. And I got a splinter in one. I got to throw it away because it peeled back from the edge. Anyways, they sand it, and then they hand sand it, and then they varnish it once or twice, depending on the finish, stain it, and then they sand it again, and then they clear it 2 times. And then they bag it, protect it, bag it, ship it around, and put it on. A walnut back is $100 cost, period. Right there.
Right.
You can buy a freaking chair on Amazon for that. And you could say, you're probably going, I don't care about the real wood. Put the fake one on there and get me the chair cheaper. But I'd say I'm matched at the same price point. And I too have plastic, metal, foam, and textile on it. And I went one notch above and gave it to you. And yet I'm matching them at price. And my cost to manufacture it is twice as much as them. It is. I know their numbers and I know what mine are. So I feel like I'm giving you guys as much as I can and trying to match the price point of a premium chair. I would love to charge a lot more for it, so I actually could be more profitable, but I don't. I'm matching the guys, giving you just plastic, metal, foam.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I throw and I pay for one more thing. The glideware that makes your butt feel so good. I license a technology from the wheelchair industry called CloudTex. It comes out of Sweden. It's 2 more layers of fabric. I've got to pay a royalty for it. And I got some people that would say, you should have never given it to him. And I say, I gave it to them because that's what makes them so comfortable, because I'm addressing pressure and shear. So I taped more dollar bills of my cost plus a royalty to put 2 extra layers of textile on there so your tailbone doesn't hurt. That makes my chair more money than them. They aren't doing that. And I still give you that as well, in addition to the better finishes. And yet I still charge you the same price as the other guys. I'm starting to convince myself that I'm giving you a screaming deal versus what the other big dogs are giving you.
How does your warranty work? Like your 12-year warranty? Like it's great on paper, but like how do you plan to support that over time?
We're all in. We don't believe in the warranty game. When we start examining warranties from Secret Labs, X Chair, all the majors, Steelcase, Herman Miller, Hayworth, and you read the fine print of it. There's limited this, exclusive that, 5 years on the textile or 10 on this. There's so much fine print.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we know a lot of guys that are ex-executives that were around when the Aeron launched, guys that helped develop the Aeron chair. We came across some of these old engineers, and they told us that the history of warranties of the numbers that they arrived at is because it was we had such equivalent product lines, and we're matching on pricing, that the warranty was the thing that they tried to use to differentiate themselves from each other. I'll give you a 5, and mine's a 7, mine's a 10, mine's a 12. And the audience, I don't care. It's not my story, it's theirs. But they're like, you know what? Most people don't even care. They forget that they even have a warranty after 7-8 years. So we didn't care. We just kept going higher because it didn't mean anything. Most of them wanted a new chair after 8 years. They weren't worried about getting a new chair or warranty work done after 8 years. And
I don't know, man. I've done it. I've used the Herman Miller warranty a couple times on the seat pan and stuff, and they'll send out a tech to your house and get it all done for you. Like it's pretty incredible what they'll do. Is that something that you offer, or are you doing more like the modular thing where you send the pieces out?
We built the chair very modular, such that you should be able to do this. You need a new arm. It's 2 Allen bolts. We designed it so it wasn't complex, or you need special tools or pry bars to get the thing apart.
Right.
Even if your cylinder fails, if anybody out there has tried to take a cylinder out, it is a mother trucker to get out of the seat structure. And then you got to get a hammer and whack it out of the base. And if you have a lot of creep, it's really stuck, and you're going to have to put it over a garbage can and get a sledgehammer to get it out, which is why we put, a $5 part on there, that shaft collar underneath. It's not pretty, but if your cylinder fails, I want you to get it out, and I don't want you to have to use a sledgehammer. Again, I tape an additional $5 bill on the chair to make your life easier someday in the future when and if your cylinder fails. Are the other guys doing that? No, they aren't giving you that either. Go get a sledgehammer.
I feel like I have you on like the defensive. Everything is, are the other guys doing it at this point? Hold on, breathe.
No, because it's a defining feature for Anthros, and
I've done the modular stuff.
I feel like it's pent up energy from the 5 billion comments we received, and I finally get a chance to talk about it instead of just reading them. So please don't take it as an attack, and I hope I'm not getting too defensive, but there are a lot of things that we did to make a high quality chair, and we taped and put a lot into this thing to make your life better and the product better for you.
No, what I see someone that's very passionate about something that they put a lot of time into. I don't think that it, first of all, I'm from New York, so you could literally be yelling at me and I'd be like, this is a great debate. Yes. So like, it's not a problem. I say hello to someone sometimes and they're like, why are you yelling at me? So I understand.
Well, in Wisconsin, we're supposed to be nice guys.
Yeah, you are. You have the accent, and it doesn't fit the thing. I will say that I have experienced the modularity because I was testing the different seat pans. Like I was trying to put the cloth seat on the leather back and the leather back with the cloth seat, and just seeing how, and also I wanted to see what was underneath it and how you designed that. And so that it literally took me 3 minutes to just whoop, doot, 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 and snap out, put back in, and it was very easy. So I just wanted to know if like you were following a different model, or if it was, yes, you were just using the modularity of the chair for, those warranties.
Yeah.
So
very modular. Quick backstory: my previous CEO was the ex-CEO of Dometic in Sweden. Dometic, like refrigerators, air conditioners for RVs, campers, trucks, boats, refrigerator, freezers. And he tried to drill in us modular. Don't design things if you can't make it modular. We wanted to use these wheelchair parts on more chairs, so make it as modular as you can. And I think that stuck with me going, I agree with that model. It makes sense. So when you took the 2 screws off to take the seat off, the same tool, would take out 2 screws, one on the right and left, and the whole arm comes off to replace.
Well, that's definitely one thing that is different about your company versus like they say the other ones. And the reason that I say that is because a lot of companies, and particularly you mentioned refrigerators, because I just had to go through this. My refrigerator actually busted and was leaking like water down from the freezer. And I went out looking at refrigerators and I realized that every new refrigerator now is built to break in like a year. And there's no modularity to it. It's the same thing with air conditioners. Try to take apart an air conditioner. It's built to break. And I have gotten to the point where I feel like I might become an HVAC technician as a side job because I understand these things so much. Because when I ordered the new fridge, it didn't fit into my apartment. So I had to look at my fridge and go, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? And so I ripped it apart. I pulled it apart and I figured it out. And I was so mad because the design of it is so bad that I went in there and I fixed a lot of the design. And I was like, screw this. Like, why? You know, like there are fail points intentionally put in there. And if you don't know what you're doing, then it just feels like the whole thing's broken. But if you understand some engineering, you look at it and you go, oh, well, physics means that this is going to slide down here and it's going to go into the actual, you know, like, and so the idea of modularity doesn't exist anymore in the world that we live in because everything is built to break. So I do appreciate that Anthros offers modularity because I could already see the benefits of that from the 2 chairs and trying to mix up parts. And even the fact that like when I first got the leather one with the white back, it was a little like intense, the white back for me. And so I was like, oh, could we swap it out for the wood back? And it was like, yeah, it's easy. We can send just that and you doop, 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 done. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So I do agree that one in particular part of the Anthros does give it inherent value because it's going to last longer because someone can actually do their own repairs. And so if someone needs the repairs, it's so my Aeron, while it can be repaired, and I have used the warranty many, many times, you do have to go through a process. And the process is you call Herman Miller. Herman Miller then says, find a local Herman Miller reseller. You call them. They then ask for pictures and stuff of like the parts. They then order those to their shop through Herman Miller or some other company. And then they send their own technician out. Then they send the bill to Herman Miller. And so it's a little convoluted and you're not allowed to do the fixes yourself. They come and they do it. And while that's a nice feature, and I do enjoy that, like they're fixing it and I don't have to worry about it. It also can be, you know, a little bit of a hassle to go through all those companies at once. So yes, modularity, I think, is inherently a value point for the Anthros.
Yeah. And we were heavy design intent. The power chair company that we made at the old place where I came from, Permobile, it's the same one that Stephen Hawkins is in. They've got this tool on the back. It's a really long Allen tool, really long, 5mm tool. It slips into the back. And they intentionally made like 80% of the adjustment points on it work with that one unique tool so that you're not needing a huge toolkit to work on it. I kind of took that idea as well from there because I liked it, which underneath every Anthros chair, there's a tool right by the cylinder taped in there. That's there because 8 years from now, you're going to call and say, hey, my seam tore on my cushion. I'm going to go, oh man, I'm so sorry. Let me get you out a new one. 12 years. I'm not going to, do you have your toolkit yet? No, I don't. Customer service call, right? Can you look underneath your chair? Do you see a tool in the bottom of it? Oh yeah, right there. That's the tool that you're going to need. I'm going to send you out a new cushion. I'm going to put the order in today for you. You're going to get it. You're going to take 2 screws out and slide the new one in and use that tool. When you're done with the tool, just click it back in the bottom of your chair. Hope you never have to use it again.
Yeah.
It's a different model. It's not as luxe, but if you broke your chair and you ticked off and you call me to get it fixed, if you're willing to do just a tiny bit of work, a couple minutes, as you said, it can be done like that.
Yeah, no, it's not difficult, which is impressive because chairs can get very complicated. Can we take?
And it's the same tool for the backs.
True. I didn't expect this to be going this long, by the way. I don't know what your time is like, but if you're up to it, I do have some like other questions that I do want to get to. Can we take like a 5-minute like bathroom break because I'm like watering
File
up to
break.
the eyeballs. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We'll be right
And
back.
I'll go take a Xanax and chill
Yeah,
out.
take a breather because I hit you hard. I got it. Okay, so yeah, that was pretty intense. I appreciate you giving me your like honest feedback, and I appreciate you being just like forward with me. And you know, while I do disagree with some of the things that you said in terms of like the the aesthetic of say a choice for the price point that we're at. I do respect that that's your choice, and I do respect that you're willing to look at it and say, well, maybe we can do better in terms of my biggest complaint, I think, out of the whole thing, and it will just be the texture, like the twist. Sure, you're not going to see that too much. I could live with it. I don't like it, but I think for the thing that I dislike the most is the arms having picked up all of the residue from my arms in just the 3 days that I had it in the beginning. I've had this for now, shoot, a month and a half, 2 months. And so this has literally been my chair for 2 months. And so like the fact
So post cleaning it that first time and scrubbing it good, is it do it like every 3 days or just that first time?
no, it remains it picks up your dirt every day. There is never a day where I was lucky enough where you sent two. So I was actually able to compare and contrast a brand new one to when did I get the second one? To about a month old one. And what I noticed was when I sat in the new one, just putting it together, once I touched those parts, the twisty knobs and the armrests, it started to change the hue. So it started to get that like dry look, like fingerprints, oils, dust, that kind of thing. And I looked at when I first opened it, and I have a video of it. You can watch it in the review video. But like we're doing this before the review, by the way, so he doesn't know exactly what's coming out. So there's I did a video of the armrests and the knobs brand new, like never been touched, and then I took a video of mine that had been. And it is a stark difference. It is a very stark difference to the point where I go, that's a hard one for me to say that's okay for $2,000. I don't think it's okay. Me personally, I don't think it's okay. And you'll see that in the review itself.
Well, you gave me the feedback on it that it's a little grippy and grabbing the skin. You know, we picked a texture. It's a starting point. I told you already that we're pretty far down the path of developing new arms, and I can examine looking at using a less aggressive texture on the pad and be very diligent on the the durometer of it and just make sure that we're doing our best to make. We don't want it to look like garbage. Every selection we made is to try and make it last and look beautiful for as long as possible.
And the visual aspects and the modularity and everything are so interesting. Like it's a very visually aesthetically pleasing chair. So it's like to see that, I was like, oh man. I mean, don't get me wrong, mine's covered, so I don't see it in the long run. But for anybody else, like, I'm surprised more people actually haven't said something about it. Maybe they just don't notice. Maybe they're dirty. I don't know.
No. I haven't heard anything about them getting dirty. What I hear is they wish they were a little flatter, a little bigger. I wish they didn't make a clicking noise. I wish they went a little higher. I wish they went a little more forwards. More of the fitment, articulation, and locking in place. And but not. I haven't heard anything about the smearing or the dirtiness or the ability for it to get dirty that quickly. But I'm hearing you with, I always use 2 ears in one mouth, man. And I have no problem as I'm looking at evolving the chair, as I told you, part by part, and always making it better and refining it, to take a look at those textures, surfaces, and finishes, and see if we can't reduce that in the future. And as far as the control knobs go, be interesting to find for you we made these parts before they were textured, they were smooth. It's called, when you make a tool, you always, all your plastic parts are gloss smooth. You make sure all the parts work first, you test them for strength, and then once you know it's right, then you spend a little more money and you texture the mold.
Right.
And it's just $3, $5, $10, $15,000 depending on the size of the tool. So you save that last money until you know your parts right. I might have some smooth control knobs around. It'd be very interesting to give them to you and go, how's this feel without the texture on it? Did that fix it, or is it the material composition that we chose?
Well, so I mean, the texture for gripping is good. Like you nailed that, and it obviously, because it's sticky. It's literally sticky. You can feel the residue on your hands after you've used it. And I particularly noticed that when I cleaned it, because then once it got wet and I went and twisted it, that little tiny bit of wetness actually had the residue on my hands. And I was like, okay, well, this is definitely whatever this is made out of. It's like, it's, you know what it feels like? Have you ever played baseball and you have a batter's glove,
Mm-hmm.
and it grips and you wet them before and you rub your hands together and they get a little bit more sticky to grab that bat. You ever had those? That texture and that stickiness, that little bit of residue, that it doesn't come off. It just kind of lingers on your hand. But that's kind of what it feels like when you touch these.
Well, let me take that back with me. Just like on the arm pads, I'm wondering if it's the mold release that you're feeling. Again, arm pad cavity. To make an arm pad, it's negative cavity of the shape, and they spray a mold release in there first, and then they start pouring the chemicals in, and they put the back half on, and the foam expands, and then it cooks in an oven all the way around, and they pull it out, and they do clean them. Maybe we're not cleaning them enough, and there's a little bit of mold release on there. It's the same process with the caps, to get that. When you start making softer parts and whatnot, you need mold release. So there's mold release that we use on those knob caps, or the control knobs. Right. Let me check into that and talk to the factory and go, hey man, you guys wiping these things down? You sending them around all snotty.
Right. Yeah, no, that'd be interesting. I would love to follow up on that. So I mean, we talked about a lot, and I have one more like technical question for you. Do you think that you would offer, because of the modularity of everything, and I got the really cool privilege to be able to take the cloth chair, right, the seat pan, and put it on the leather back, and then vice versa. And I got to mix around some of those parts. Do you think that you would ever offer on your website the ability to mix and match cloth and leather?
We did talk about that. We built the part number string such that we can, that you could do a, more than likely, we thought that we wanted the ability in our part number string to offer a leather seat cushion so you can wipe it down for eating and drinking and spilling food on it, but then keeping the cloth backs. We just haven't executed on it yet. But yeah, we are set and future proof to do that.
Nice. Yeah, because I think that for me, the perfect combination is cloth back, leather seat, because the leather, as you know, I like it better for the firmness and the breathability of that back. Because that back really, it suctions into your back to hold you, which is a good thing. It's just like, oh God, it gets hot. And my house is always a negative 64 degrees. So if I'm saying it's hot, like that's hot.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons too, trying to understand why it feels hot, is because it's so small and it's concentrated.
Oh yeah, no,
bigger liner, and you got a bigger, greater surface area,
physics,
and maybe
yeah,
it's an overall feeling where this is like, nope, I'm holding you right here, and the heat is right here.
No, for sure, and that's why I think I definitely prefer the cloth back over the leather one. All right, so to kind of like to let this podcast end itself with some lighter notes and a little bit of some brevity to give you a break, can you tell the audience one of your weirdest or like funniest feedbacks that you've ever gotten from a customer?
Funny is it?
He's like, funny is subjective.
I'm like, Should I say it or not? What's the marketing department going to say if I answer this question honestly? I've heard from several ladies that they think that their breast size has increased, or their breasts look bigger when they sit in the chair because their chest is up and out. And that's I was like, I didn't think about that one when I was designing, but if you're sitting collapsed,
it's good posture.
Up, it looks like you're really shoving them out, male or female.
I know. Look at that, man. Like, geez.
Packs showing up. So yeah, I've heard that.
I wasn't expecting that. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. And
buy an Anthros chair, increase your breast size.
Oh my fucking God. I feel like you've got, like, in today's America, I really feel like you got it, man. That's your new fix your sit, fix your tits. There you go. Oh. Done.
Now marketing's not happy with you.
I said it. He didn't say it. Anyway, I already. Ooh, boy, that's fantastic. Okay, I gotta ask this last question.
Yeah.
Do you play any video games?
I'm OG video game guy. You know, I grew up, I had Generation 1 Pong with D batteries. I still love playing Pong. I love playing Atari. I love Frogger. If I see a Frogger machine, I love going to arcades. Like I take my kids to the old school arcade places around here where we make our chairs in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There's this banger bar called the Pyramid Scheme, and it's all pinball machines. I try and go there as much as possible. I love gaming, but not new age gaming. I call it OG gaming. I'm 50, man. I love my old stuff. Not that I don't appreciate, Tekken, or I'm Gen 1 Tech. Every game that you guys play in tournaments, it didn't even have a number behind it when I was playing
True.
it.
Yeah. So then how did you know that this was a good chair for gamers?
So gamers are the ones that I held closest to my heart to help. People in pain, people with sciatica, people with a herniated disc. They're number one. Like, I made this chair to help people, not just to sell a chair, make yet another chair with a widget and claims. I wanted to try and help people get better, feel better. And I'm telling you, the sit time that gamers, streamers, people do, it was not a contest of who do you have to really design for to make sure that you're helping them. Because nothing against my Joe average office worker, but you check in, you got coffee breaks, you're walking around, you're going to meetings, you might sit 4 or 5 hours a day, and the block of time that you sit still is smaller yet. And it was like my programmers, my coders, my gamers, my streamers, these people go to work and do a job and sit, and then they come home and do more. Or they made a career out of this and they're sitting 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. Holy shit, I have to design for them first. And if I can make it work for them, everybody else is going to benefit from that effort. So
that's true.
They're the holy grail of who to design for.
I agree with you, because it's like, as you watch some of these streamers, man, and they're going on 13-hour, 24-hour like crazy marathons, and they're not moving. They're just staying there the whole time. Maybe they go and pee or something, but like they just
posture check.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I experienced it myself with like my own little gaming sessions, and also I do video editing and coding, so I'm literally at the computer 24/7. So the fact that I have not swapped back to my other chairs is definitely a testament as to how long I can sit in this chair and be comfortable.
Tristan, a little behind the scenes within Anthros, in the walls and the hallways, and in conversations when we were designing it, when we were testing it with different people, yes, including gamers, and we were getting positive feedback for how long I could sit without being in pain, and it was, much more than what they had said they've ever been able to do. Some of them do I'm gonna do a big session this week, and I'm not getting out of that chair. It's like, no, don't do that.
No,
please
yeah.
do get up. No, I'm gonna really test it for you. Okay, let me know how it goes. And they'd come back saying how amazing they felt. And it was this moment where I coined this little phrase, and I'm like, that's it. I've got to find a way to get this chair to gamers. I've got to find a way for them to try it. I know it's not going to be at the price point they want, but if you're that serious, invest in it. Like your mattress for sleep, invest in it for your sit. It's not as much as a mattress. It's less than that. And the chair can damage you. So please come get the chair and save yourself. And I kept saying internally, like, I'm going to free my people from those awful chairs. And the phrase was coined for gamers. That was my motto: free my people from pain.
Yeah, I mean, I look, we would not be having this if I was gonna make a review on the chair and just say this is a piece of shit. I wouldn't waste my time. I legitimately am
ever.
What?
It would have been the best roast ever if you did.
Right, for sure. Like, that's just like, how trolly is that? Then welcome to the gaming world. But it literally is a different type of chair. It is you can feel the ethos of a wheelchair aesthetic. You understand why the ergonomic things have been done. You understand the difference between using air, water, like different materials, like different ways to make it so you don't get a bed sore, that kind of stuff that applies to sitting for elongated periods of time, that applies to people that have no choice but to sit for elongated periods of time. We're choosing to do this. So it's like, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with us, but like, that's our choice. But yeah, no, I thank you for like coming on to this and having an honest one-on-one with me. The reason, as you know, is that because I'm invested in this chair personally. I feel as though this chair could be the one and all be all for me personally. And I know chairs are very subjective. I really do. I've learned that over the years, is that, but when I have my cousin come over and he sits in the chair and he says, "Oh, wow." And like, we just played a 3-hour gaming session. He was like, "That was super comfortable." I didn't tell him tell me that. That's saying something. He doesn't know shit about chairs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the chair guy. I get these things constantly. I see the different manufacturers just making the same shit over and over and over again from the same factories. You can literally see it in their shipping and their packaging and the stuff you get. You're like, and that's something I think a lot of people don't see. Reviewers, I think we see it a lot. We get to see behind the scenes. Like, for instance, I do the keyboard reviews, and I know exactly which companies are actually the same company as the other companies. So there's one company that's the parent company of 75 companies, and they're literally sending you things. You're opening it and you're going, wait, this is the exact same packaging and design as the last thing. Oh, this is the same fucking company. Damn it. So the same thing applies with the Chinese brands of chairs and stuff like that. And so it was refreshing to see something different. I really went into it. I was very jaded when I saw this thing, and I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no way. You look at it and you're like, there's holes, there's gaps, there's that back pad is like this big. It's going to feel terrible. Like, this is no way this is going to feel good. And yeah. And that's why we're here. The reason we're here is because it did feel good and it did fix my sit. And it is something that I want to see more people in. And so I want to tell people about it. I want people to hear what you say, because I was having trouble, and this is going to be my ending rant. And, I let you talk a lot, but now it's my turn. And it's like, I just wanted to say that, like, for me, I didn't know how to make a review that justifies a $2,000 chair when I saw, I wrote it here, and I want to say it exactly how I said it, where I saw inconsistencies in the materials and finishes that felt like it took away from that ergonomic breakthrough. And so I felt like this chair changed the way that I could experience my own desk setup, my own work, my own gaming experience for the better. But how do I say to someone, the chair is worth it because it it actually, the promise it says, which is to fix your sit, it pays the promise. It does good on its promise. It does the main function it's supposed to do, and it actually is a fantastic chair that fixes pain. It doesn't give you pain, and it allows you to sit longer and comfortably and properly. I can't tell you what, when we fight a boss, me and my cousin, we play games constantly on the weekend, and he says to me, I have, like, we're fighting a sweaty boss, right? We're like super fucking sweaty gaming at that point. And he's like, oh my God, I'm like 6 feet away from the fucking, like, we'll beat him. And then he'll be like, oh, I was like 6 feet away from my monitor. And I just, oh my God, I need to take a breath. And I'm sitting here like this. and I was like, yeah, dude, I was super into that boss, but like I was in the perfect ergonomic, like my shoulders were back, my arms were, everything was just good. I didn't lean forward. I didn't feel the need to lean forward. The chair was working with me and not against me in situations where my brain is telling me, do the opposite of what you should. And the chair is going, nah, I got you. And so that's where like that 6% angle really helps, because it almost forces you to like not, because it's very hard to get out of that 6%. And so a lot of the little things and the basic general overall of this chair is such a godsend of like, this is, you did very good.
Thank you.
And so you're welcome. And I think you deserve the praise. And I just know, because I get constantly, the number one feedback question I get asked is, can you test the Herman Miller Embody? It's the number one question I get asked. Can you test that chair? Can you test that chair? It's like, it's so expensive. Can you test that chair? And I'm like, no, I've tried to, actually. I've reached out to them and they refuse to send it. And I think it's because there's a certain few videos that I'm very honest in all of my videos. And so I don't think that they want to go down that road where I might say, hey, this isn't actually worth the $2,000. I don't know if it is or not. I've really never really sat in one. I maybe sat in one I think just recently I sat in one for like 10 minutes, not even. And so that's not really, you can't, you don't get anything from that. And so I want people to understand that you as your company is it's a newer company, it's a smaller company, and it's working towards making something good. And you're willing to, I wanted people to see that you're willing to have this conversation, because this is more important than the small flaws that I see, right? Like the imperfections of like the stickiness and stuff like that. The fact that you're listening to me and you're willing to have this conversation, you're going to have a 2-hour fucking podcast with some random dude on the internet and taking time out of your day to do this and tell me your honest truth, whether or not I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
Is important for, I think, my audience to see, because I want to recommend this chair. But there are certain things personally that make it hard to recommend the chair as an overall package. Like I said, I think that this is my chair. But the little things make, like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, it's hard for me to say as this. It's not that it's a bad chair.
I was so close. I'm so close. But you know what? You know what's awesome is the things you're talking about are not unobtainium. And
true.
And as the chair moves on, I can work with my molder. I can go, hey man, I just got roasted the other day on the glass build content. We got to get rid of the glassing. And they'll go, okay, why don't we try running it at 33%? And see if we can get less glassing to the surface instead of 50. It might not be able to go up to 400 pounds, but we can still get it to pass 300 pounds. Are you okay with that, Steve? And we talked a lot about concessions. Maybe it'll come down to a concession and I'll go, you know what, that part looks a lot better. And yeah, let's drop it down to 33% glass. And yeah, so it's only rated to 325 pounds, but I don't sell the chair. You know what I'm getting at.
And there's also the idea of modularity.
Yeah.
There's that modularity aspect that I think gives you a lot of freedom, where, like, let's say like some people don't like the smoother finishes, right, on the knobs. What if you offered a stickier finish and the non-sticky finish for someone that, you know what I mean? And
Let's start with, I'm crossing my fingers that there's too much freaking mold release on the part, and we're just not cleaning it good.
It's
Maybe I can get
possible.
this away with the way it is now.
Which would be great because the way it is now is very grippy, and I like that, and I do appreciate that. So look, you'll see the full review. There's a little things that I think are quirks and things that I obviously that we've talked about that I think are quality control, and the overall thing that I want everybody to know from this podcast is that this is a fucking fantastic chair. And I'm not glazing him. And I think you'll see that after this podcast. I think that would be pretty clear. I'm not glazing him because there's been many times where you're like, well, this is what I think. And I'm like, I disagree with you.
Yeah.
We may never agree on some of that stuff. And that's totally fine. But I think that you would be doing a disservice to not look into this chair. You have, what is it, a 30-day money back guarantee?
Because our return rate's so low now, we changed it to 60 days. We want you to try
Holy
it
shit.
longer and fall in love with it. Yeah, it's now a 60-day risk-free trial.
Wow. And there is this one thing that you should know about that, because it is posturing you differently than your other chairs. Within the first week, you will feel a little bit of muscle fatigue because you're sitting in a way that you're not used to. And even me, I have very good posture, I think, at least, in the way that I sit, because I've had a lot of trouble with, pain in here and my back. And so I've learned through, physical therapy and stuff like that on how to modify that. And so I'm lucky that I had that because it only took about 3 days to get used to the chair. I got very little muscle soreness. The only thing was I think I had a little bit for like my neck, and I was like, oh, that's different. And so once the headrest is out and I can go fully into that nice 16% and work in that, God, I really do think that you have made an innovative product, and I don't think it's bullshit. And I hope that a lot of the things that I mentioned turn out to be, what was it that I said in the damn email? It was a manufacturing tolerance issue, right? There's a certain amount of error in manufacturing, and I'm hoping that some of it is just a tolerance issue that you can go to the manufacturing department and say, hey, why are my spokes so streaky? Why does it look like this?
Yeah, it's the glass fill content. I can look at that one. I can, and I will. And I'll stay in contact with you. You guys, as the designer, Tristan, you made me tear up a little earlier when you said it helped you and it made you feel better, and it's a good chair, because it does mean that much to me. And it's really easy to get lost in the day-to-day of squeaks and squawks and returns and the next design, and there's always so much to do, and you're so buried in it that as the product development guy, I sometimes get lost in that, and I forget that there's a you out there interacting with it sometimes. And we share constantly reviews that come back, good and bad. And the bad ones, okay, what are we gonna do to fix that? The good ones, heart, love, high five, to the moon, rockets, fist pumps, knuckle bumps. We send all these emotions because they melt our heart, because everybody in this company would hug every single one of you guys that bought a chair and had a positive experience, because that's who we are. We all are very passionate about helping people. There's nobody at this company that just has a job. This is a company with a huge heart, and we always want to be better. We want more. We want less price points. We want more features. We want to give you guys the sun and the moon and the stars. We're a startup yet. You're right, Tristan. We're brand new out of the chutes, and this is what we got for now. But I pledge to you that we will be the company that wants to set the gold standard of what sitting could be, what comfort could be. That's our mission vision, is to get people out of pain and build some of the best seating products that are out there.
Look, I couldn't have said it better. I think your mottos are great. The people that I've talked to at your company are so damn passionate. It's insane. Ashley is a great example. She's such a wonderful human. And like,
Yes, yeah.
you're super passionate, and I think that you're onto something using things that existed, things that people already used. The wheelchair industry, they already use this stuff. And when people hear that, they're like, "But I'm fit and I'm fine. I don't need wheelchair chair stuff."
Technology.
Yeah,
Will.
I don't need that. But what I think is that yes, you do, because it is the most basic, foolproof way to get a chair that will last a long time and fix a problem that every chair has, which is after a long period of time of sitting, it hurts you. And wheelchairs have been designed for a person who has no choice but to sit for long periods of time and has to worry about bed sores, has to worry about like different parts of their body atrophying, has to worry about all these problems that will come up. And so applying that to someone that is in shape or not needing a wheelchair, not even in shape, but just someone that doesn't need a wheelchair, is a fantastic thing for you as a chair buyer, because it's working for you and you don't have to worry about 7,000 mechanical parts that are going to break over time.
Yeah.
And the fact that wheelchair and Anthros follow this modular system really sets it apart, in my opinion, from the competition, because they're giving a good consumer brand, like they're giving the consumer the ability to fix. That's funny, actually.
Yeah.
but that's not okay. Well, okay. They're giving you the ability to fix your sit by sitting, but they're also being the ability to fix the chair. But you can fix your sit if it breaks. Literally, you can fix parts of it yourself. And God, man, if you can name me one other company that gives you the ability to do that, even after the warranty runs out, I'll give you a lot of money, because there are none. Everything is built to break now. So look, man, I don't want to glaze you too much. I don't want to get down on you too much either. And I just want to say thank you for, sitting down with me today and doing this. And I hope that, this helps people that, I've heard I understand. Look, I run a video game server, and I know feedback can either make you feel fantastic or it can fucking shred your day. I get it.
It can crush you. It can ruin a weekend.
It can ruin. I understand. There are Reddit posts. I understand.
I'm a sensitive guy, so words hurt, everybody. Take this as your lesson.
They really do. They do hurt. I follow the positive sentiment override idea, where if you believe that the devs for your video game have your best interest in mind, they don't want to make a bad game, and you approach it that way instead of a negative sentiment of, oh, well, they did this to fuck us. Perhaps the devs might respond better to your feedback if you go into it with a, hey, so did you intend to do this? And oh shit, no, that's a bug. I'm so sorry. So you seem to have that approach with Anthros, and that's really cool. And I just, I wanted to sit down, and I'm going to end it here because otherwise I'll just keep going. But I wanted to sit down, and I just wanted to say, this is the chair. These are the things that I think need help. That's his reaction. I don't have any control over what happens after this point, but I definitely will be going away from this interaction with you and the interaction that I had with Ashley and the interaction that I've had with, just the chair itself, right? And I will be sitting in the Anthros as my chair. This is the chair that I will be wearing. Yeah, no, I'm for sure. And that's where my conflictedness was. And I was like, how the fuck do I make a review on a $2,000 chair that feels fantastic and rocks, but has a couple things that are like, for me, like,
we're new kids on the block. Thank you for pointing it out. Give me a little grace.
That's it.
And let me see what I can do to perfect it.
Look, I don't expect perfection from any company. I just like when companies listen, and I like when they have good consumer practices. I'm so sick of the like the apples and I love Apple, but like I'm sick of that whole like, here's what you wanted versus here's what you actually wanted. I'm like, okay, so thank you for making a chair that I wanted, didn't know I wanted, and also for sitting down with me today. And yeah, that's all I got, man. Anything you want to say?
No, thank you for caring enough to reach out and have an open conversation. It means a lot to me. It's better than somebody just being a mean kid on the keyboard. And, you know, I'm here for anybody that wants to talk. I'm not an untouchable. You got questions, your audience has questions, pass them through. You want to invite me back on for a follow-up after comments and they got more questions because I opened up a can of worms with some of the things that I said. Bring me up. We'll come back on and sort through it, and we're here. We got 2 ears, 1 mouth, a big heart, and we did this for you guys. And Tristan, I'm glad it's working for you, and I hope it works for you guys out there as well. Go, everybody, remember, go try foot support.
Yeah, definitely do that. Anyway, thanks y'all for watching. As always, if you liked the video, a like. If you hated it, dislike twice. Subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, you happy with the content so far?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good. You're being honest. So that's, I mean, that's all I could ask for is I don't expect you to tell me the right thing or the wrong thing. There's no right or wrong thing. This is just a, actually, you know, fuck it. I'll include this in this.